Yeah. You know how we seek that higher knowledge? Only the ignorant can't relate. We just kill them with love instead of hate. That's what it's about.
We are Moors.
Shout out to the Grand Sheikh, Cujo L, Iron Sheikh. Yeah.
We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snapback, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Blue, white, green fairs, not just red. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Keep talking reckless and muftis for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Your slave name crest might have a Moor head. We are Moors.
20 Moors rockin', you could call them Moroccans. Great COS adepts, let's get it poppin'. Got a problem with my sheep, got a problem with me. I be on the front line rollin', 23 deep. I be studying for hours, 7 days a week, working on my higher self, cause the devil don't sleep. Big ups to Cujo L, that's the Iron Sheik. 7's up, facing the east, praising Allah. Astrology, cosmology, that's the real law. I slow roast ya, master the flame like Zoe Roaster. The rise of the new Moors, old heads move over. That Kundalini energy rising up like a cobra. This is training day, mount up with real soldiers. Elevate beyond the hate and claim your lost estate. The only reason you hate is you too blind to relate. The only reason you hate is you too blind to relate.
We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snapback, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said?
I don't rock a hat, just a turban, no affairs. We are Moors.
Heard what I said? Keep talking reckless and muftis for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Your slave name crest might have a Moor head. Stop talking crazy. You can't be everything but Moors. That's like willing to stay minority and not mature. Therefore, Taj Tariq Bey taught the world don't respect you. However, since you wanna be it, you go down when they fall. They, the ones you call government, that's really a corpse. Black man means funeral director. Should make sense, of course. Music is the food and the message, the medicine. Mumble food is poison. I'm with the golden era veterans like Mobb Deep, condolences, QB, RIP Prodigy, who studied the history of the Moors and etymology. You missed the Corsica headband, disguised as a bandana. Moorish MC, the real Moroccan, not a French Montana. Kendrick Lamar, you Sarahite, trust me, Hebrew's a language. Lupe put Moors in his video, made the point vantage. Yassine Bey knows Sabir Bey knows Moorish Master MC. Fruquan Bey and Daddy IU are on some Moorish degrees. Spraga and Bojuno, they even killed Peter cause of Macintosh. Still visit Digable planets, hip-hop astronauts. Milky Way flow, rays of tassels, blind unbelievers. To higher than other senses, to still pick up the frequency. Pick your addiction, truth will still make itself known. To go platinum now, you gotta give up more plus your soul. Large Professor built pyramids, I watch Drink Champ steady. Cause Nori said Drew Ali on a track, so call me petty. Also Martin Moore exec produced the War Report album. Aboriginal Super Cat taught me how to hang and scalp them. Operation Lockdown video feathers like I said a Duke. Initiate invasions, activate at doors every spook. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snapback, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Blue, white, green fairs, not just red. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Keep talking reckless and muftis for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Your slave name crest might have a Moor head.
We are Moors.
We are Moors. Heard what I said? We are Moors. Heard what I said? Heard what I said? Heard what are Moors. We are Moors.
Yeah, I'm just basically going to bring information like I always do, and then I'm just going to have a little subject matter that I think that we should discuss as a body politic about our behavior towards each other, and also especially in the public view, how we are towards each other. So that's basically, I'm not going to drown everybody out with a bunch of information on that, right? So, and as you see, our time is, everybody had to get in, everybody's still, there's probably still people on their way here. So, can I get that button?
We want to go sort of keep going on that theme with regard to the position that the Moors should be taking with regard to what it is that was presented to us. You know that there's always issues, but it is of extreme importance that when we look at the teachings that were presented to us by Noble Juali and the Quran that was presented to us, that was for us to correct our behavior. That was for us to go from being in a dead state, whether it's mental dead state, economic dead state, physical dead state, spiritual dead state, and raise our vibration to somewhere higher. Just to again stress the titles of the chapters in the Holy Quran that are relative to Noble Juali only. And think about, as you hear in the titles, think about how the titles could apply to your everyday, or people you know, or who you think, oh yeah, they probably need to read this or whatever, or maybe you need to read it because of your own quote-unquote behaviors. Holy instruction and warnings for all young men. We'll just take an excerpt from each. The foundation of health, which must supply the stream of pleasure, shall quickly be dried up, and every spring of joy shall be exhausted. In the prime of thy life, old age shall overtake thee. The sun shall decline in the morning of thy days. But when virtue and modesty enlighten her charms, and luster of a beautiful woman is brighter than the stars of heaven, and the influence of her power in it, it is in vain to resist. The innocence of her eyes is like that of a turtle. Simplicity and truth dwelleth in her heart. Right, holy instruction and warnings for all young men. Marriage instructions for man and wife from the Holy Prophet. Her hand seeketh employment, her foot delighteth not in gating abroad. She is clothed with neatness, she is fed with temperance. Humility and meekness are as a crown of glory circling her head. On her tongue dwelleth music, the sweetness of honey floweth from her lips. Decency is in all her words, in her answers, and mildness and truth. Submission and obedience are the lessons of her life, and peace and happiness are her reward. Before her steps walketh prudence, and virtue attendeth at her right hand. Her eye speaketh softness and love, but discretion with a scepter sitting on her brow. Duty of a husband. O cherish her as a blessing sent to thee from heaven. Let the kindness of thy behavior endear thee to her heart. She is the mistress of thy house. Treat her therefore with respect, that thy servants may obey her. Oppose not her inclination without cause. She is the partner of thy cares. Make her also the companion of thy pleasures. Reprove her faults with greatness. Exact not her obedience with rigor. Trust thy secrets in her breast. Her counsels are sincere. Thou shalt not be deceived. Holy instructions for thy children. The soil is thine own. Let it not want cultivation. The seed which thou sowest, that also shalt reap. Teach him obedience, and he shall bless thee. Teach him modesty, and he shall not be ashamed. Teach him gratitude, and he shall receive benefits. Teach him charity, and he shall gain love. Teach him temperance, and he shall have health. Teach him prudence, and fortune shall attend him. The obedience of children toward their father. Be grateful to thy father, for he gave thee life, and to thy mother, for she sustained thee. Hear the words of his mouth, for they are spoken for thy good. Give ear to his admonition, for it proceedeth from love. He hath watched for thy welfare. He hath toiled for thy cause, for thy ease. Do honor therefore to his age, and let not his gray hairs be treated with irreverence. Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation. Before I read all this one. You are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother hath given you suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity. And prefer not a stranger before thine own blood. If thy blood is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other.
Islam.
Islam. Holy instructions of unity. Holy unity of the rich and the poor. Holy instructions from the prophet, master and servant, magistrate and subject. Holy instructions from the prophet, social duties. Holy instructions from the prophet, justice. Holy instructions from the prophet, charity. Holy instructions from the prophet, gratitude. Holy instructions from the prophet, sincerity. Holy instructions from the prophet, religion. Holy instructions from the prophet, know thyself. Holy instructions from the prophet, the breath of heaven. Holy instructions from the prophet, the soul of man. Holy instructions from the prophet, the pinnacle of wisdom. Holy instructions from the prophet, the instability of man. Holy instructions from the prophet, inconstancy. Holy instructions from the prophet, weakness. Holy instructions from the prophet, the insufficiency of knowledge. Holy instructions from the prophet, misery. The divine origin of the Asiatic nations, the beginning of Christianity, Egypt, the capital empire of the dominion of Africa, the end of time and the fulfilling of the prophecies. And you go through all that, and once you go through all that, and you start applying these lessons to self, mindset is going to change. And once mindsets change, then we're going to see stuff changing around us. And this is why, again, when we look at what Noble Jordan presented, and we say, we were talking about this a few nights ago, when we say, oh, it's religious, know that when Noble Jordan spoke about religious, he was talking esoteric, he was talking metaphysics, he was talking occult, he wasn't talking go into some building called More Science Temple and singing and clapping and doing that type of praise. He was talking about praising the higher self, giving honors to Allah within you, so that once you start ingesting this information, as soon as you start intaking it, it's going to have an effect on you. It's not just like other info that we studied, got to a point in it, and then realized there ain't nothing else in this. Like there's nothing else to work towards. Because the goal that they told me that is the goal wasn't really, it was illusion. They just wanted to get me on the treadmill going in that direction, giving them my power or giving them my energy. And this is about us putting our energy back in towards ourselves. This is about realizing that, you know, nobody's really making certain statements with regard to us. Moors, you are a nation. Saying that in 1913. When all these people care about is getting off some plantation. He's talking nationhood back then. And not something that you have to go through, you know what I mean, flaming hoops or whatever like that to get. All you have to do is study what it is that I gave you and prove the stuff that I brought you is some BS. Prove it wrong. Opposed to people prove it wrong, they'll make up stuff to make it be what it's not. Right? When we're talking about being what it is that we know and all that, for Noble Jubilee Day this year, we went to the city of Toronto, we put in a proclamation request to them so that they can give us something so we can show people that these people know what's up. Look, they gave us something. Because that's how we know our people got on bandwagons. They have to see stuff. Can't just talk anymore to our people. You have to show them something for them to say, oh, yeah, okay, yeah. I'll consider it because you showed me something. Then I'll jump in on it. Because after you show them that stuff that they've been asking for, then they're not going to be satisfied with that. They want you to show them some grander thing, you know. And then when you show them that, then they're like, oh, well, you know, what we actually meant was, and then they start talking about some other thing. Right? So you had something that...
Just to build on that, I just heard... who was saying that they're saying that they're coming out with the Truth Act. And that if you're out there in the public disseminating information and you can't substantiate that, what you're talking about, you're going to jail. So be mindful of that one. Hey, be mindful of that one. I was like, oh, good, man. People always lying and talking crap. Yeah, well, you better prove that. You better prove it. They're coming for their assets. They're coming for they're liquidating, man. So Big Brother Taj wasn't wrong, man. He's absolutely 100% correct. And as the more is saying, you know, if we're a nation, and we're saying we're a nation, we're nationals, we're government, we're ambassadors, we're representatives of a people. You can't be going around acting a certain way outside and having yeah, I'm a national, and then you get into a car that has, you know, the Quebec plates on them. A national rolls around with these national flags around on this conveyance. Most of the time, it's a limo, stretched. I'm just saying, you know, there's a certain type of behavior and character that comes with when you're saying that you're a government. Right, there's 191, I think, de jure countries that are de jure. You're not going to see them in the public, you know. Yo, man, what are you talking about? Right? So I just want to build on the Truth Act.
So, after we went to them for the proclamation, they came back and said, well, the stuff that you're requesting basically sounds like something that we already did. So how about we just give you that, right? And the proclamation was National Aboriginal Day, June 21st, 2017. Whereas National Aboriginal Day celebrates the rich culture, heritage, and achievements of Indigenous nations across Canada. It is also a time to focus on truth and reconciliation in order to restore peace, harmony, balance, and to honor Canada's First People while working to restore our relationships. The City of Toronto is committed to working with Indigenous communities to achieve reconciliation in order to restore Indigenous people's rights to self-determination. Now therefore, I, Mayor John Tory, on behalf of Toronto City Council, do hereby proclaim as June 21st, 2017, National Aboriginal Day in the City of Toronto. So we're going from the perspective of our people aren't going to recognize who the Moors are, but they'll recognize the city of whatever. Right, well, the city of whatever, based on our request to them for something, responded to us with something that lets them know that they know exactly where we're coming from. When we say who we are, when we start saying that, you know, we're not black, and they stop, you know, doing trying to push the envelope that we're black. When they actually go with what we say. Oh yeah, we're the Aboriginal, Indigenous, whatever. And then what Jed left. But going back to that was that Jed called me and he said, yo, the proclamation that you guys got, if that was for the City of Toronto, then it should be able to apply anywhere. This should be a template for cities all across Canada. That this particular city has this proclamation about Indigenous Day. Now, the public's not aware that the proclamation for Indigenous Day could be attached to other entities that claim that they're Indigenous, right? We're one of those entities that say we're Aboriginal Indigenous. So they had to have went and did some type of research. When we went to put our proclamation in, they had to do some type of research in order to come back to us to say, we'll give you the Indigenous one, because when we checked out what you guys' stuff is, it's relative to something that we already acknowledge. So he took that and then applied that here to the proclamation that we got, because jurisdiction is Canaanland, and he's not looking at it as over there and those Moors over there and these Moors over here. It's Canaanland. Wherever it is that the Moors are at here, they're part of the central body that's quote-unquote near Toronto. And then if you could talk about with the meeting and then getting this part.
Oh, okay.
Just based on the proclamation with the mayor for the.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
here too.
So this how this even came about was the mayor that's here now. Her name is Valerie Plant, but right now we're in which borough or jurisdiction we're in right now is called Cotinage. Right, we're in Cotinage Road, but it's actually, you see, and because they do as Moors know, they have, you know, corporate jurisdiction. So before it used to be just Cotinage, and now it's NDG Cotinage. So it's CDN, NDG CD /CDN. So where I live is considered NDG. which is on the kind of the border of NBG, Côte Saint Luc, and Cotonich. They grouped all of that together and they put borough mayors over each one that belongs to the cabinet of Valerie Plante, of the one that wins. So they were going, door to door, and the woman, her name is Sue Montgomery, who was the mayor of CDN and DG. So she came by my house. Actually, she was going door to door before they got in, doing that. When they go door to door, introducing themselves to people. And at that moment, everybody, it was election time, so I met like all of the would-be mayors and the current mayor. That was another story. Oh my gosh, the current mayor at one point, so you're gonna like this one. So you see where I live, right? You see where I domicile. You see my mailbox, right? The mayor before here, his name was Gabriel Retta, and he's a brother from near Ethiopia, from Abyssinia, right? So I hear this, where I study, right? So I hear something outside, right? You're like, hey, some guy just walked past, and I could see if somebody walks past my house. So I see somebody there, see somebody like this in my mailbox. What? Run outside, and it's Gabriel Retta. Then I'm like, open the door. I said, what are you doing? He goes, oh, I was checking to see if there was any mail there to see if anybody was living here, right? And I was putting in this card, so I took out the card, and I said, oh, that's you. I said, oh, cool. I said, but you do know that jurisdiction right there is not part of the city. That jurisdiction is part of the Universal Postal. He went Union.
Oh, okay.
He went, oh, I know. And I said, well, and as you know, you yourself can get arrested for just having your hand in that box. He said, yeah, oh, you know what, I'm very sorry, excuse me. I said, no, but, there was another person there that came there, and he worked for the city, and he thought just because he worked for the city that he could put his hand in the mailbox. He called the cops came and said, oh, they see me, and took off, left him dead in my break there. And I said, you see, how did that feel? The cops just left you, so now what? He said, oh, so then he walked away. But my point is that they where I live, they come by and they ring your doorbell. So this current one here, Valerie Plante, came, and Valerie Plante used to be part of she was the head of the investigators of the murdered indigenous women. She was the head of that. And she left that to run for mayor. And what she was telling me, because she did that, because she was telling me that it was a fiasco, in her words, that the investigation unit that they had to investigate murdered indigenous women was just a buffer, just a buffer, just to face up. Yeah. Oh, what's the complaint? Next complaint, and nothing get done. And I said to Sue Montgomery, I said, there's a few reasons why that's happening. I said, for one, I didn't really get into it because I know that she looked like one of those native Indians. Right? She looked like a native Indian. So I'm like, I'm not gonna, I'm staying in an intelligent tone. So, I said to her, I said, I'm fezzed up, and I said, I'm Moorish. You would call me Mont. She didn't even know what that was. I said, oh, Mac. She goes, oh, you mean you're from Nova Scotia? And I'm like, yeah, something like that. I said, but it's not like that. I said, America is actually a Maru, and Ka means land. Ka means land. Right? So it's, if you're going to say a Maryland, if you want to say that, but that's English. That's an English people came over here, colonizer, or colonized me. I talk to the French people all the time over here, and I tell them, stop with the freaking French shit with me, eh? Like as if I want to speak English. Like you must be that ignorant, but they're very ignorant over here. Besides having a language barrier, you say, I'm a Moor. They don't tell you that. Moor, Moor, their tongues can't even make the sound. So you have to know the word in French, which is ma. The brother, Dr. Ben, said we were calling ourselves Moors. M-A-U-R-E-S first, then M-O-O-R-S. So the French is M-A-U-R-E-S, ma. So when you see it like that, they can't kind of, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, you mean ma? Oh, okay, yeah, ma. Right. So I had to explain to Sue Montgomery that, you know, when you hear Al or Algonquin, right? I said Algonquin, Mi'kmaq, all those people are really L'-N-U, or the Nuppy, right? Or Nu, right? People. I said, but by the time that you guys come up to whatever, you guys have manipulated the language, the people that are from here are really called Mu. The Mu people. Or Moor, or More, whatever. So that's real etymology. Right now, I'm talking, do you know etymology? No. Do you know? Okay, so then I'm telling other Moors over here too, other Moors that I talk to here that, hey, listen, sometimes, you know, even my woman, she goes harder than me at the stores, you know, when it comes to this tax stuff. And sometimes you just take it, stop. If you see that, oh, do you honor the no tax? And you say, oh yeah, and you see them actually trying, but they don't know the machinery, just let, you see them already. They're not trying to disrespect you, they're actually trying. If you see that, just keep it trucking. Just take it, go. Because really it's about the disrespect, not the tax. I don't care about the $2.50, the $1, the 15 cents, whatever it is. It's more so, are you directly violating me, knowing that this is my land? Or are you, I really just don't know how to work this. Doesn't it look stupid from my past? Please don't get, I don't know. And then most of the time you're dealing with that. You're dealing with people who don't actually know how to deal with the machine. They don't want to, they want to save face in front of the higher ups, even if it's something, right? And then when you actually bring the higher ups and you actually see the manager, and then you see the manager applying that same violation, like Hugo says, why do you want to give them your fiat anyway? Like the statements, I was reading it this morning with the Moor, and I think I left it on the table. There was things I wanted to point out in there. All right. Anyways, so all this to say was that I explained all it, and she was like, "Wow!" And out of all of the would-be candidates and her and Gabriel Retta, the Ethiopian, okay, none of them said, "You know, we should work together. That's interesting." But the Sue Montgomery woman, only her, she was like, wow, this is interesting. You know what? We should get together and do something. I was like, you know, you're the only one that said that to me. Right? I said to her, though, I did bring up, I said, well, you know that Canada's a corporation, 1867 incorporated, right? You know it's a colony. Then if you're saying you're an investigator for murder and indigenous women, I said, there's a lot of bad karma that these people have on themselves, huh? I said, I'll just leave it there. And then that was my face-to-face interaction with her. Now, when I came to get, like, this is what, our third time here? This is our third time here, right? So, the first two times when we came here, we used fiat. You know, we straight price. But on their web page it says if you're a non-profit and if you're Aboriginal Indigenous people, then you get certain benefits, certain rights. One of those rights is, you know, most nations they get two times a year free, and then every other time if they want to do something they get 50%. So right now 50% off. So if I wanted a room that costs like $20 an hour, and I got like 5 hours, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, $100, I don't have to pay $50 for 5 hours. Or they have the first one we were in was a $10 an hour room. So if I got that room for 5 hours, it'd be $50. I pay $25. I can have rap competitions, cook-off, and do all types of stuff. So I was telling Patrick also that we're not, and I was telling Compay that, you know, we got like a lot of cards, and we have them on the table, we don't really know how to play them, we don't know how to use them. What is that?
So,
Is that what's over there?
yeah.
Can I get one, please?
Sorrel ginger or
Ginger, please.
Yellow.
Thank you. I'll give you the.
Oh, yeah, very good,
So even on that level, with what, you know, having all the cards on the table, and really what it is this happening without us,
Yeah, yeah. You hear that, Morris?
right?
Here, is this happening? Because me, I'm there today. I'm the one. I had to come here like 3 times. The guy, the admin. Oh yeah, just to wrap that up. So I came back here and I'm telling them, well, your website says that, you know, Aboriginal Indigenous people and nonprofit. Well, I said, I'm both that. He goes, yeah, but no, it's for the big nations. I was like, I pulled out my proclamation. I said, here, bang. The guy said, what? I said, yeah. They photocopied it. Shh. And said, okay.
That's that.
Thank you. They said, but we need a business address. I was like, that's coming. I was like, what about this place? You have rooms in here? I was like, I'll have it up in here. So that's what I'm kind of working on, trying to even have the...
Especially if they're going to give you the space for free.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Even if I get it every
why not?
$10 an hour, it's $20, or, you know, half people, that's easy. You know what I mean? And if Moors if Moors are serious in their own jurisdiction, they want to do something, then there would be no problem for them to contribute for themselves.
Yeah.
You know, but, you know, again.
And again too, like, you know, we want to get out of the idea of, like we were talking about earlier, having to see something to do something. We should just be game to do something. Just like with Brother Alfonso and them saying that, you know, we're gonna get some Moors from Ottawa to come here too. Just because. It's why wouldn't we do that if we're Moors? Why would there be Moors in Montreal and Moors in Ottawa and they're not working in unison? You know what I mean? But it has to be done from the perspective of recognizing that it's really one jurisdiction. It's like Haiti, Dominican Republic. And people are talking about, yeah, these guys on this side and we have a constitution and they have a constitution and we have a flag and they have a flag. Well, they're on one goddamn landmass? That one landmass. What do you mean you got separate stuff on the one landmass? And where'd that come from? That came from them thinking colonial. But they were thinking like their foremothers, they say, oh yeah, that's our brothers over there. What do you mean Dominican Republic or whatever? And Dominican Republic, what do you mean Haiti's over there? That's Dominican Republic over there.
So crazy.
All one thing. You know?
It's crazy.
And, you know, it's really about, going back again to the thing with the behaviors, you know, when we say we're Moors, the track record that we're using to say that we're Moors today, those Moors didn't play around back then. Those Moors didn't play back then. Like, do something crazy, you might lose your hand, or your foot, or your ear, or whatever. Because there can be no violators. You know what I mean? It has to be, you know, coming to the realization that it's all one thing. It's all one thing. So the more that the Moors realize what it is that they were brought, what it is that they have, how important it is to make sure that the dots are connected. Because if we go through that motion of not connecting the dots, the picture's going to be messed up. And all the dots connected is all the different jurisdictions that know what it is that this is about and them unifying. Not the ones who don't know or the ones who are sometimes or the ones that we're questioning. It's like anytime there's for Negroes, the best example they use for a Moor is the one that got his window smashed in or whatever. And if you talk to somebody else, the best example they use of a Moor is the one that they seen on divorce court or the one they seen on people's court or some BS. And then say, oh yeah, those are the Moors. I don't want to have nothing to do with that. But the Moors who are actually getting proclamations and stuff like that, got these cities giving them buildings, got freaking whoever doing whatever for Moors just because they presented themselves, they're not going to talk about them. There's Moors right now. People talk with things like vaccination or whatever like that. Their child, or the European school, so we don't want to go to the school because they're going to vaccinate our children. So how your child or daughter supposed to get educated if they're not going there? Because your dumbass has 5 jobs, so you can't freaking homeschool them. And you have no type of relationship with your grandmother because the grandmother's 12 years old. So she can't even babysit anybody. So you better send them to that European school so they can at least get some basic level of knowing something. Because we know Moors who have those children in those European schools and they're getting hundreds. Right? If you're not hit to Canaanland Moors YouTube, we had an interview with a brother who the teacher is calling home 7 a.m. in the morning. Teacher is calling home because the teacher is seeing that his son's bored in school and they want him to do something about it. Remember, his report comes, he gets hundreds. No 99.9999 or whatever, hundreds. Across the board, every subject, hundreds. And he's in school and school doesn't know what to do. School's going to their parents like, yo, so like, you gotta help us out here or whatever. Like, what do you mean? What do you want me to do? That's you guys' job. And now it's stalemate. Because he's in class and he's just in the corner, chilling. He gets hundreds. I don't have to be here. Oh yeah, by the way, he's 10. 10. He has his teacher calling his house at 7 a.m. for good news. 7 a.m. Phone call from the teacher. This is outside of school, whatever. This is like personal one-on-one now with the parents. All because he knows about his nationality. He's not some Negro. He's not the, you're going to call him black by accident and you're going to pass. 10.
He's putting boxes.
He's shutting you down. 10, he's shutting you down.
Yeah.
Forget that name and all that stuff. I have a title. I don't have a name.
It's a name.
I don't have a name. Oh, Moors don't have names. This is 10-year-old talk. Has school shut down. And then again, you have people, the racism and the ADHD, and they try to whatever my child, and then and we should segregate because we can't get segregate. These children will be doing worse if they segregate. Don't segregate. Because they already tried the segregation with the black school in Toronto, Afrocentric school and all that. That they made a black school in a public school and gave them a room and gave them half the gym and called that a black school. and they think that that's something because they got dashiki vests on and they celebrate Kwanzaa every year and then they got something. But it's in a public school where you have the dashiki children and then the regular don't wear whatever they want children in the same cafeteria. But all of them don't go to the black school, only the dashiki ones. And these people are saying that's progress. That's their level of we've progressed. When all those so-called black businesses could have came together, they'd build a school by now.
Is that university Morehouse? Is that a black university?
It's on the historical black colleges, BS or whatever.
Yeah.
But again, you know, Morehouse.
Morehouse. Yeah.
The college is called Morehouse, and then a house is something, then a more is something. Then, okay, so they have a college named after Morris. But that's not enough to convince our people that they should be down with this.
You want to know something else? I went down to go work at CKUT down here, McGill College. The radio station is in the Moore building.
Right.
Well, our last lecture in Ottawa was where Morissette building.
Right.
So it's everywhere you go, brother.
You can't even,
You can't
God
escape.
put the
My
word.
son,
Yeah.
my son lives on MOHR. The mother's telling me, oh no, he's not a Moore, don't tell him that at the cult. Then they move, right? Then the address, my son texts me, MOHR.
Wow.
How do you spell Moore in Germany? I just said like, okay, whatever.
What more you need? Like, what more you want?
Whatever.
What do you need?
But again, it only reveals itself when you reveal yourself.
Oh,
Only when you prove that you're on what you're on is there going to be a reflection of that. For you to be able to say, yes, they're on the right, whatever. Just like what we said. Came here, punched in the address for the spot, and what's the name of the street again? The one that we're on, Sherbrooke.
oh, Sherbrooke.
Yeah.
Atwater.
85 Sherbrooke is some Royal Morocco Airlines or something like that. And then next to that is the Moroccan Embassy.
Yeah.
And we're like, it's okay, so we
That's
got
why
this
you
spot
look
or whatever. We got this spot and this spot just happens to be next to the thing. That's not verification that, yeah, we're where we're supposed to be right now. Could have said whatever about why are you going to Montreal and what's out there and it's cold out there and whatever like that.
The shed's out there.
Right? There was something else going on. There was something else going on. We were around here, traveling around here. We're not from here, right? This morning, brother, Tez had some French etiquette. So he was dealing with this dude from Algeria. Right? He's dealing with the brother from Algeria, and it was me and Ray that were there. And we were like, damn, we don't even speak. We don't even know what they're saying or whatever. But the conversation's not, it ain't everybody smiling, laughing, you know what I mean? You know, a man who doesn't know somebody else is putting his hand on his shoulders there. He's talking French or whatever like that. And Ted's like, oui, whatever. And this man's going nuts. He's going nuts. Because he's like, what? Like, this is how real this thing is?
You know, that happened to, remember, was you there? Me, you, I think him. Then we were in that Wendy's. We were all meeting one time, and then there's this I think a brother from Abyssinian, and he came around. Oh no, he was from Senegal. He goes, yeah, the people, you're a Maori? I said, yeah, something like that. It's close enough. I said, yeah, I'm a Maori. He said, oh, Maori? I said, oh, yeah. He goes, we have the Maori. Over here, they have the same thing. Right? I was like, oh, okay, yeah. So I gave him, I had a paper on me, and I gave him a paper, too. So he was like, oh, cool. So, yeah. Even right now, we were in the taxi. We're sitting down. Tahuti sees, we see two brothers, right, walking with two Jewish dudes with the yarmulke on, right? Both of them walking down, like parlaying. I was like, and I go, no. He's like, yo, I never see that, man. Like, you don't see that shit. He goes, is that two niggas walking around with two? I say, first of all, I say, those two dudes are gangsters, and they probably just bought dope off of that guy. And I said, and this guy's probably got dope from these guys, and now he's gone. As he said that, the guy, he crosses the car like this, he crosses the car, looks at me and goes, as him say that, right? We're all laughing in the taxi. The taxi guy's laughing, right? He's laughing. Listen, no joke. We get to the next corner. There's a Moro woman there, like a Filipino woman, right? There's a Moro woman there. She stops, sees me in the car and goes, and I'm like this. I'm like. And the taxi guy's like, look at him, he goes, and I'm like, yeah, so, for me, I was telling Tahuti, I have, near this Montreal jurisdiction, I have more good experiences than I do bad. I don't even think I have bad experiences. The bad experiences that I would be calling the bad experiences, they're actually would have been bad experiences, but now they're not bad experiences because they were physical because of because of drugs.
Right. Simple as that.
You know, so I'm in awe. I'm in shock. I'm in shock and awe right now.
Well, it's like where's part I live?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
One thing going back to there's teachings of there are no strange happenings. Everything's for a reason, right?
Everything's governed by law.
Yeah. That's all I have to say.
Which part I live on the near Ottawa, so-called, but on the so-called Gatineau side, on the French side of the river, right? So there's a lot of Moroccan people that live there, taxi drivers, and so they ask me, where are you from? And I'm always like, oh, Maghreb. So, you know, I'm from Morocco. And they're not looking at me like I'm crazy. They're talking to me, oh yeah, okay, brother, that's true. Yeah. I'm a Berber, I'm from Morocco myself, and they're not going like, you guys, you're crazy. Well, Morocco's over there. You know, I go, you know, as soon as we start talking a little bit, I have no problem. They're giving me free rides home. They're passing me on the road. They're stopping, picking me up, driving me to my house. I'm trying to pay them. They say, no, keep your money. Like, many times.
Yeah.
Like, lots of times. So they clearly know what's up. You know what I mean? Clearly, and that's the thing. When you go out in the world, the rest of the world knows what's up. The Filipinos know, the Algerians know, Moroccans know. Anywhere you go in the world, people know
Germans know.
People know about us. And who we are. They know our history.
The Russians know. The Germans and Russians, whenever they see me also, same type of positive.
Right.
Positive. Even the little old Jewish woman.
Right.
You know, the ones, the aesthetic Jew there.
Right.
They see me, they honor me, they feel comfortable. Some of them even run up to me, ask me questions. I'm like, I've been in a dollar store, they come up to me and start asking me questions. Like, do you know where this is? And I'm like, I don't work here, but, you know, I grabbed the fence like, I'm like, wait a minute, I don't work here.
But, Bulgaria one time stopped me started engaging me in some conversation because she recognized the fez and she recognized that, you know, in her culture, the Bulgarians, it's all about Moorish culture. And she's like so-called light-skinned looking, European looking, but she knew clearly who the Moors were, and she started engaging me to see if I knew what the Moors were, because she knew who they were.
Yeah.
And we were talking, we had no problem. She didn't look at me like I was strange or out to lunch or like how our people look at us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Look at those guys, those Kentucky Fried Chicken hats. Bucket hats.
You know, real quick, on this street, on Cotonage, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 streets up, there's a grocery store called Maghreb. On this street, there's a store called Al Maghreb. Yep. So they know. And actually, this is called Cotonage, but we actually call this Morocco, Little Morocco, because there's so many different parts of the world, but especially like our parts of the world are concentrated in this part of the city. Like the English part. The French part is more north, but this is mostly the English.
Like even walking over in the Mont today, we went over across here to Dallas or whatever,
Yeah.
and there was a lot of
Moors.
so-called brown-skinned Moorish people, you know, brown-skinned people, and you could see right away they knew what the fez was.
Yeah.
Because they were looking, and it wasn't like they were looking, oh my God, they were looking like, yeah, I recognize, like, you know,
And they see me.
recognized it.
They see me in that mall all the time.
Right.
They see me in that mall but there's a Moorish store.
Right.
Every textile, clothes, like
That's
stuff
right.
like this.
Clearly, you know, one culture on the planet, one family, you know. I mean, like one thing about like I remember when I first came up with this stuff, and we were looking in the dictionary. It said a Moor, any dark-skinned person. Any. So if you see a dark-skinned person, that's a Moor. And in their culture, even though they might be bleached out, washed out, or whatever, but in their culture got started by Moors. Moors are the ones that put them onto their culture, that built their civilization. So they have enough reverence and respect for us. But like the Jen saying, it's time for us to have it for ourselves.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Any questions right now? You throw those up.
I would just like to build on what you were just last saying, Joe. Just concerning, like, expressing yourself. This right here is the Quebec Charter of Human Rights and Freedoms. And this is the preamble. This is not even in the articles yet. And I'll just read the last paragraph where it says, whereas it is expedient to solemnly declare the fundamental human rights and freedoms in a charter so that they may be guaranteed by the collective will and better protected against any violation. So it is saying that it's expedient to solemnly declare the fundamental human rights and freedoms of a charter. If you're not going to be declared this right, and you're not really seeing these things, okay, you're not going to have them. You have to declare these rights to have them, and they're saying it right here.
And again, it's because of the how colorable that they've been in their exercising of violating rights. When they say, let's say for whatever instance, they send you whatever, right? Any response that you have to them should have points of reference in aspects or matters of law that when they go check, they can know that, okay, this individual is in a different class. This individual is in a different jurisdiction. We can't deal with them how we deal with everybody else. Yes, sis.
I have a good example of that. I have a friend in the States, and they were going to foreclose and take away her house. It was a big banks there.
Wells Fargo? JP Morgan Chase?
JP Morgan?
Yeah.
And she went, they had all their lawyers and everything, and she stood up, she said, I never give anyone permission to sell my property. And they shut it down right there.
Yeah.
Or to take my property. Shut it down right there. The lawyer just looked at it and said, well, we can't do anything more further, and they have to shut it down.
Yeah.
As soon as she opened her mouth is really what went on, because she took
she just declared that that's hers and she knows the rights. And
not only that, she took herself from in civil litter mortuus and placed herself into appropriate persona just by speaking.
Yeah.
But then again, it also goes to, the jurisdiction that she's in, that they could have had so much of that type of activity that they already have a standard of how, as soon as certain things, it's like when they say if they're tapping calls or whatever like that, they got phrase words they're listening for. It's the same stuff with them. That they already know. If somebody says certain things, we already know that they're on the mind frame where we might get sued, or they might be able to file a complaint with the right people to get us in trouble or whatever it is. You know what I mean? So don't completely look at those in other jurisdictions and think of using them as the example for where you're at. Because there could be different layers where they're at that you might not have to deal with or have to deal with, that they don't have to deal with. So like, for example, like when we talk about, like with the full foreclosure, for example, right? There's so much parties involved here. Over there you're dealing with a company. Over here you're dealing with broker, you're dealing with bank, you're dealing with property management, whoever, you're dealing with tax. You remember, all these are different jurisdictions that you're dealing with. Property tax people, they're going to come in their own time to get there into finance, right? The more colorable the jurisdiction, the more layers you'll see. The more de jure the jurisdiction, the less layers that there's going to be. Especially when there's cases of controversy. So somebody who has an issue in another jurisdiction, they might go to federal court for their whatever, right? Regardless of what it is. If it's court related, that's where they go. Yeah, in this jurisdiction, when you got traffic stuff, you're going to this one. When you have family stuff, you're going to this one. When you have child stuff, you're going to this one. You have criminal stuff, you're going to that one over there. When you have whatever, you're going, and they have all these different jurisdictions going on at the same time. Under the guise of they're the law, or this is how the law's supposed to run, because our system was set up under the charter of the whatever, when they really don't have, they're really notwithstanding. And it's going to be the multitude presenting themselves to these people that's going to shut them down. Not individuals when you're dealing with color. Because once you're dealing with color, all they have to do is find somebody who's opposite of your energy and then use them to defeat you. Like they say that when we use the right to travel example, and then more say, well, they stopped me, so I'm gonna use my fee schedule against them because they held me up for 2 hours times, you know, $8 million an hour, so I'm gonna bill them for that time so that I can get something back. Well, to pay that $8 million an hour, all they gotta do is go give 50,000 Negroes insurance tickets. And then they did no work. All those people are actually going to come put up the finance for them to be able to defend their position against you. Whereas if that one individual got with some other individuals who had the same situation, and once they realize that they're part of the same nation, then now that's class action. And class action has more power than any individual suit. Because once you're doing a class action, they know that they'll have to pay everybody out, not just one. Which is why most times when you go class action, they usually settle out of court. Because why are we going to go to court? You know that we're wrong or whatever. And if we go to court, then we got to pay out everybody. Opposed to one. So they'll say, you know what, out of court. We'll give everybody a 10, 15, 20, 80, whatever, and then they do whatever happens. They might sign a gag order so that nothing goes into the public or whatever, because once it goes out in the public, you already know that people are going to want to implement it to make sure that they get their worth. Because it's precedent that these people's ass could get kicked. It's not, well, we think we might be able to beat them or whatever. Everybody does the same thing. These people every time. No matter what they do. As soon as they violate, well, what that guy did, I want to do that right now. We're all the same jurisdiction. We're all the same family. We're part of the same nation. Oh, this guy said that he went here where got whatever free. All right, you guys better set up my free stuff. Because I'm with that guy who got his stuff free. Right? So not to take away from fighting them, but recognize that in the jurisdiction, quote unquote, Canada, these people are colored from the top down. There's nothing de jour here other than the Aboriginal indigenous people. And if they're not fending for themselves, ain't nobody fending for anything. Everybody's engaging in color. And it's only going to be the true Aboriginal and indigenous people that could make the claim or stand up for something that these people are going to have any type of idea to say otherwise. Just like we're saying with our proclamation.
So you say that with the proclamation to the city?
Yeah, because we know that our people have to see something from them. Our people are not going to go with what we're saying.
And you put it as an individual?
No, we put it as a temple.
Okay.
Or as a body of Moors.
Montreal or now?
That was in Toronto.
In Toronto?
Yeah.
Okay, to the city?
Yeah, to the city.
Not to the province?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, to the city, to the immediate jurisdiction where we're at. Because there's no provincial, they say, like when they say premier, right? He's not really a head, he's really a governor. Like he's not really the head of the province like that. You know what I mean? He's more governor of the state. Acting like he has some type of authority, he can give grants and he can do whatever like that. But really all he does is he's just governing that jurisdiction. Right? The mayor is governing the city jurisdiction. Prime minister is governing the federal. But all of them are under somebody, so they don't really have the authority what they're posing like they got. But since they want to play that game, and they want to play truth and reconciliation with the Aboriginal people and all the stuff like that, okay, well then since we're the Aboriginal people, we're going to put in a proclamation.
You're proclaiming the Aboriginal status basically.
Well, we proclaimed acknowledging our patriarch, Noble Drew Ali. They came back and said, your stuff sounds indigenous. Do you want this as your thing?
We never told them.
We never said we want it indigenous or whatever. They came back to us with that when we put our proclamation, our request in. So we put our request as, we want a Noble Drew Ali Day. There's this man by the name of Noble, and this is how it played out in the script. Why do you want a proclamation? Oh, Noble Drew Ali came in 1913, so we're not Negro, black, colored, you know, got a charter for it or whatever, you know. We showed them the article with Oscar Bruton and Madame Bruton and Noble Drew Ali telling them that he wanted to come here to do classes and all this type of stuff, whatever like that. And they had to have got, because the information I gave them didn't equate to indigenous. The information I gave them was Noble Drew Ali. What they, because obviously they would have, they're going to go check. If you put in a proclamation to the city, we want a day for our God of whatever. They're going to go check. Oh, you say your God's name is whatever, they have their think tank, they're going to find out whatever. Whatever it is that they found out, when they went and checked, made them present to us an indigenous proclamation. Which lets us know that they know that Moors are indigenous.
Islam.
So if they know that Moors are indigenous, then we should have no issue with these people when we start saying we're Moors. Because they know what indigenous is. Even though we're saying Moors to them, when it goes in their ears, they hear indigenous in their mind. They don't hear Moors when we say Moors. Which is all right. Because it's not taken away from anything because they're not saying Moors. Like people have this mentality like you present yourself to a European or whatever, and then you say Moors and they say Berbers, and then they don't know what you're talking about. Or they say Cushites, or they say Canaanites, or Moabites or whatever. But because they didn't say Moors, you know, like you guys said, you know about Moors? Now I know about the Celts and the Druids and the, no, but do you know about Moors? Yeah, I know about the Berbers and the Arabs and the whatever. Yeah, but like you don't need to hear Moors to know that they know. Yeah. There's so much stuff that they can say to prove that they know, right? And again, that's them testing the waters.
It's like the guy, the Algerian brother today. He kept asking Kelpei, what country? Like, where are you guys coming from? That he just showed up on the corner of, you know, Sherbrooke Street, all fezzed up. And I just tell him, we're from here, from Morocco, from here. And then he started naming off other countries.
Yeah.
Even though I told him, no, we're from here.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, no, but like, I've seen this before. Like, you know, it's in Senegal. He named Senegal.
Yeah, he named Senegal.
Ghana and Ivory Coast and Morocco and Mauritania. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, that's the Moroccan Empire. He's like, yeah, the ancient Moroccan Empire. And then I said, but this is part of the empire too, because Morocco, you know, controlled the Straits of Gibraltar, and I kind of put it together pieces for him, and he kind of, because he knew I knew that he knew that stuff, and he kind of, okay, and he's like, I learned something today, you know. So,
you know, because
he has his frames of reference already.
They have some type of reference point.
Yeah.
They're not in the dark.
Yeah.
Like how our people are in the dark. You tell them Moors and they're going off into whatever they go off into. When you bring up Moors to them. You know, even with the brother did with the thumbs up. The thumbs up since yesterday, thumbs up everywhere.
Everywhere.
Everybody's thumbs up about something. Why you thumbs up for? You ever seen a fez? That's it? You just thumbs up just because you saw a fez? Like, you're that excited right now that the only expression you can do is thumbs up. Big smile, thumbs up. If that's what it is, alright, that's what it is. You don't gotta say more to me or whatever. I already know what's up. You know what I mean? The other brother, when we were in the elevator, and he was talking about, oh yeah, he came in and he's like, you know, he's looking at the fezzes or whatever. He's just looking at the fezzes. You know, he's asking, you know, well, what's that or whatever. Like, yo, no français. Like, oh, no anglais or whatever like that. So we're like, but, you know, he just thumbs up it, like, yo, you know, whatever. So then, was he ready when? Yeah. So when we said, what about Arabic? Assalamu alaikum, like, hey, alaikum salam. Then everybody was happy, and everybody was like, yeah, we could communicate with each other. Yes, that's like, it was just, that was the whole thing. Assalamu alaikum, alaikum salam, assalamu alaikum, hey, everybody was pushing for it now. You know what I mean? No barriers when it comes to, we know who we are. There's no barriers. The only barriers are the ones that we put up against ourselves constantly. Because like we're saying, the spot here got free because more knew that they were indigenous and they should get stuff free. It's just what it is. And they were like, yeah, you actually should get stuff free. No problem, you sign a paper, bam, and that's that.
Oh, and then you come back to the video and you say the same thing. Oh, but I seen the guy who received me here, he's Syrian. So he's like, but you know, Mauritania, Turkish, yeah, no, and I'm like, yeah, no.
Moroccan Empire.
Yeah. He's like, Moroccan, and then, Empress is there, and then when they kept pushing him, every time he kept, and I pushed him the one last time, he's like, yeah, I know, that goes way back before my people. Then he starts saying
I've been in the guild.
I looked at Empress and I'm like, it's okay, it's great. So we're good? The thumbs up, everything.
Thumbs up, dude.
Kept trucking.
Well, let's throw it out again. If there's any questions, feel free to put those out. Any whatsoever. Nobody? No question? Nothing?
I want to ask this brother here. Are you familiar with what a proclamation is? Okay, so this right here, this is the Code of Civil Procedure. This is how the de factos kind of have to govern themselves in their de facto government, right? In their colorable government. Let me just read you something here that it says about how they gotta operate, right? So here is Article 957, Code of Civil Procedure, 957.
Civil procedure for Canada for what?
Quebec.
Quebec.
No.
It's Quebec, but Canada, Quebec was before Canada, and Canada kind of framed their stuff off of Quebec. The Quebec courthouse and Supreme and all that bullshit, right? So, just to show you like what a proclamation kind of is. Where a party challenges the validity, where a party challenges the validity or constitutionality of a legislative or regulatory provision, an order in council, or a proclamation of the government, Quebec, the Lieutenant Governor, the Governor General, or the Governor General Council, the judge may order that the action be transferred to a court of competent jurisdiction. So a proclamation, proclamation, is it is a claim that's being done in a body, in a couch, in a letter like type format, that is done by a government type of body. So, like, coming back to what I was trying to tell the brothers before, that if we're saying that we're ambassadors, we're saying we're government. If we're saying you're a B, you're saying you're L, you're saying you're an enforcer, you're saying you're a governor. You're directly saying that you're some way, shape, or form involved in government. As governments, even them, they operate through proclamations. So whenever a government makes any types of move or letters, they're doing it by way via proclamation. Right?
Or notice.
Or notice.
Yeah, think of it that way.
Alright?
Because the legislation hasn't been concluded. It's before the legislation is concluded.
Oh, yeah, the validity of it has not been, it's being challenged.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it's being challenged, it has to...
Like Emancipation Proclamation.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
It's a notice.
It's a notice. Proclaim.
And that's why you don't take the proclamations as the law.
As the law.
Because you, just like the Emancipation Proclamation. Yeah, we're free, the president's free. No, you didn't. We're free, you guys. That's just proclamation. That's the president just giving you a notice.
But in the notice was informations that relative to that. If you find yourself physically in these places, then we got your back. We'll make sure that nobody can come and claim you and take you back to the south.
Yeah. And if you can't rebut the notice, it also will remain as law. Too, if a notice or if a notice is being made, a claim, and nobody can refute the claim or rebut the claim, then that claim will stand as law.
And then also too, like with regard to making the proclamation, even with our position as Moors, we're supposed to have a proclamation. Because even Drew Ali told Moors to proclaim. So when you go to RVBA Publications, they have a name correction affidavit there, and they have a judicial proclamation. And those are supposed to be the standard documents that a national would use when they realized that they were under subjugation. You would proclaim your name back, whatever your name is, you would declare what that is. and you would make a proclamation stating the facts relative to the declaration. And then the proclamation will be writing, sent out to whoever needs to know that this is the position that you're taking. And if they don't rebut it in 30 days or 45 days or whatever, then it stands as a law. Once it's not rebutted. Which most times, you know, in our instance, they would never rebut. Because they know that the position that we're coming from, by them rebutting, that gives our claim validity. If they do nothing, then they can claim I didn't know or I didn't get it or whatever. If they rebut, now they know they got it. And they would never set themselves up like that. Don't look at the colonial whatever like you know, some trailer park trash. They don't know law and they don't know certain stuff, right? They know from the law perspective. They know from the, you know, get virgin blood, do some rituals before they go to court, and they win cases every time. Because they're, you know, we've been taken away from where it is that we're supposed to be. Like the ladies at the vegan restaurant yesterday. They told us, they made the reference point to us when we were talking about, you know, this is our headwear and who are you guys, where are you, whatever like that. What they related to us was Sufis. That's where they went with our identity, who it is that we are. And then when it was time for them to know more about it, one of the Moors would tell them, okay, well, we're Canaanites, Moabites. And at that point, they were lost. They didn't even know where to go from there.
Yeah, they were expecting us to talk about some dance that we're going to do.
Right? They were talking, yeah, they were expecting us to get up and do the twirling around and all that type of stuff because, you know, that's what they know Sufi is. Right? That mundane perspective. Right? The idea that their mentality is that we're nigger. Until you go like this and make fire, you're a nigger to them. They want to see that. To qualify that, okay, yeah, he's not or she's not like all the other Negroes around here that dress up in whatever and say that they're whatever. They're looking at the historical reference point of a fez, of a turban, of jalabia, of, you know, shirts with stitching designs on the front and all that. They're looking at that stuff way beyond where it is that we're looking at it because they have that historical backing. Because in their culture they were taught about who the Moors are, guaranteed. And they weren't taught about guessing about what it is. They know exactly what it is. They know without a shadow of a doubt that the people that are looked at as the blacks and the Africans and the whatever, they have such a rich culture that if they only knew who they were, they would rule again and all that type of stuff, how they talk. And then they know what it is that we had to rule the world, but they aren't exposing that. They're going to put that in the Vatican Library, put that in Smithsonian. They're going to drive that out into the Pacific Ocean, dump that, drive it in the Atlantic Ocean, dump that, and they're not going to believe anything because they already know what's up if we start getting on what we're supposed to be on. And we're the ones that have to really look at solving our problems and fixing our mess and getting ourselves out of whatever we're in. We have to be the ones to do it. We have to be the ones to say, you know what, I'm not getting no lawyer. I'm about to go deal with this. Because you already know, you have a track record of the last 10 times you got a lawyer and you lost every case. obviously you don't need that guy, or you shouldn't have him, if you're going to lose every time. And it's just, same thing, Rich. If Moors want to have, Moors should have to behave. Moors should have a certain, you're going to get it once you act the part, like you really claiming that it is. There's ample amounts of Moors that make claims of Moors, but they don't really act like Moors, so then nothing comes back to them like that. Whereas then there's other Moors who, they say that they're Moors, they know that they're Moors, and they don't got no issues. Because everything runs according to how they play it out. Because they're the ones that manifest their destiny. Not waiting for somebody to do something so that they can whatever. They're manifesting it. Why? Because they put in their 2, 5, 7, 8, 1,500, whatever amount of hours that they have to put in to know what it is that they're doing, and then you go out and exercise. And the more you study, the more you get to that place of being sure in who it is you know you are. That you're that sure to the point that your approach is going to make them recognize that you know what's up. You don't have to say anything to these people. Just you being Moors, carrying yourself as Moors. Living the part. These people look at you and know, you know what, those ones are real. Don't even bother with them. Let them do whatever. Anything they ask for, give it to them. Let them do whatever they want. It's like the Moors in Virginia right now. Right? All they've ever done is go to schools and do boys to men programs or whatever. That's all they did as Moors. Right? Doing that. Then, maybe about a year and a half ago, one of those Moors got acknowledged by the city with some big humanitarian whatever, where the city's giving, awards to just people who do community work. This Moor happened to be one of those people, right? They end up getting that and then getting invited to some Senate hearing for something about how, something to do with identifying students in school on these forms or whatever that they're listing black on there. Because they went to a school and they presented that, and it was like a student or whoever knew somebody that was in the Senate and brought that to them about, hey, there's these forms or whatever, they're saying black and all that. And through these Moors going to these Senate meetings, they were able to put their energy behind a bill that the identification has to be specific to nationality or whatever. It can't be some color or whatever. And they passed the bill on that. And this is just because of these Moors' activity. Not going to court fighting tickets, not fighting child support, not fighting all the stuff that people see Moors fighting and think that's what it's about being Moors. These are Moors, all they did was they just went to schools and did programs. And the city pulled them up like, yo, we see what you guys doing, we're going to recognize you.
And then with the thing on the colors on the application form or whatever, black, whatever was there, they saw an error and they notified the corporation, and then they sat in the meetings until the corporation had resolved the error. Right? There was no, like, I haven't met the brothers, I don't think, but seen the pictures in the YouTube and whatnot.
Yeah.
They're just correcting an error. They didn't seem emotionally, charged up by the fact that black was on the application or whatever. But it took time. And that's just for probably maybe one word on a piece of paper. But then it didn't really, you know, it wasn't a battle, it was just the time of the Senate coming together and realizing, oh yeah, they're right, we're wrong. End of story.
Yep.
Like you said, civil procedure, right? There's a certain procedure that has to be followed all the time.
Yeah, and again, you know, holding them to certain procedures, just like we say, enforce the Constitution on Europeans. Because that's the procedure. That's the guideline. So if we're saying, as Moors, we're enforcing the Constitution, then anything else that they're claiming is law is null and void if it's not in the Constitution. And being that anything that they're claiming is null and void, they can't now use it to try you. Because it's contrary to the law that set them up. So they can't say, we agree to everything in the Union in Article 11 of the Articles of Confederation, and then 1867 talking about Constitution Act and we have Charter of Rights and Freedoms and all that. And then Quebec saying, well, you know, well, we don't have nothing to do with that. We're our own sovereign state or whatever.
It's kind of, what is that? We've been, what is that?
Right? Because it's still, when you look at all the so-called countries, all of them colonize somebody. And if they colonize somebody else to say that, oh yeah, well we're here now, so we're the whatever, because, you know, then they're part of the same beast system, which Europeans right now are realizing that, hold on a second, it's not about being Canadian and being all that stuff. Those are corporations. I need to be my ancient whatever. And then they're claiming that they're British, Scottish, whatever like that. And what they're doing is going back to where they came from. They're moving all their bank accounts over there. They're buying their house there. Forget house here. Right? And if they do have a house here, they're renting it out.
That was the whole plan. That was the whole plan in the first place.
Question. So,
Yeah.
pertaining to the setup here, the building that we're going to be functioning from, is there any program that's set, any scheduled program that's set on when sessions will be taking place?
For where?
Or you were mentioning that the proclamation, use the proclamation to receive a room to function.
Yeah, well, because you see here, this is the paper he gave me when I came. When I told him, I was like, listen, I read your policy, and, right? And we are these people. We're a nation, and we're a nonprofit, and you know we're humanitarians. We help people, and we're here to help people. Like you can come upstairs. I was telling the guy, you can come upstairs and learn something to help you with a court case or something you might have problems with. You know, you might have problems with immigration or something. So he goes, well, again, they pull the, well, our boss says we need this. And I'm like, well, your boss doesn't know shit, right? So, right? So they go, well, we need this. And they printed me this, and it says, Numéro d'entreprise de Québec, an NEQ number, right? So this is like some enterprise number. So I was like, no, that's a violation. I don't need no number, registration number, get no from my enemies. Is that what you're saying? So I said, no, that's not what it is. It's my right. All I got to do to you is prove that who I am. That's it, right? He goes, well, that's what I need. I said, okay. I went home, called the mayor. Yeah, all right, because you know, you see. Okay, so now, do you want to legalize marijuana? It's all in the words again. If you use marijuana, you place yourself in that jurisdiction. If you say herbs, it's herbs, right? You say cannabis. If you use any words that, first of all, it's their words that they've created and placed into a jurisdiction, you start using those words like vehicle.
Another example, not to cut you. It's not a right to bear guns, it's a right to bear arms. You start talking about, yeah, we got AR, we have a right to carry AR, whatever like that. Oh no, you just put yourself in the jurisdiction of license now.
Yes,
I want to speak on the issue with what's that, you know the situation with Windrush, where they're sending like Jamaicans and Caribbean people who were under the British Empire for how many years they were there? More than 50 years, like more than one generation basically. And they're sending them back, mainly because Britain is now broke, basically, right? So the people who built the nation, who built the empire, now they're trying to disown them. But when you read the so-called laws that they have, even though these people came from the Caribbean or they were a part of the Britain Empire, because the Caribbean islands, as long as they originally started as under the British corporation there. Because when they left the islands, they had a British passport.
Right.
And now they're claiming they're not Britain, right?
Yeah.
Because Jamaica and the other islands became independent later.
Right.
But still, under those original treaties or original laws, they're still, in a sense, under the British.
What if
But they're being deported, basically.
yeah, because in the grand scheme, property can't own property. So if these people, Jamaicans,
it's not just Jamaicans, but they
I mean,
showed a lot more
like
Jamaicans.
the Caribbean people, right? All of them are wards of the crown if they're claiming independence from some European crown corporation. So because they're claiming to be independent of some European crown corporation, they're saying that we are wards. They're saying that we are property. Just like any other corporation, when you got too much assets, you're going to liquidate. That's what they're doing right now from a corporate position. From a corporate position, in quote-unquote Britain, they did inventory of that corporation, and they found out that we've been had stuff here for 50, 60, 70 years that ain't done. So we need to get rid of that property because it's useless in our hands.
I see it differently. They have done a lot, but they haven't done for themselves. But they have done, they built the empire basically, but they didn't ensure that they made their stake there because they didn't even know that they took them off the documents. Like they didn't even realize that they weren't documented.
And whose incompetence is that?
Yeah, they're not. They're responsible. But that's what I'm saying. Like they didn't totally. Like, what do you say? The mentality.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, we're looking at.
But now they're older. That the government has to take care of them. They don't want to take care of them. So that's the reason why they're getting rid of them.
Right. Which is just like the people who do the dog breeding, right? The dog's too old, they're putting it down. They're not talking about try to Frankenstein, keep him alive or whatever. You're useless. You served your purpose. You know what I mean? You built up our empire. Now you want us to pay you off of the stuff that you just help us build up. What do you mean? You're property. You're slaves. You guys yourself said that you're slaves there. You got Ghana, Kenya, whatever came on and said, hey, we're going to give all the Negroes free visas and stuff like that. Come on back. These guys said, nah, we're all right. We're going to still here. We're going to stay here and complain about being Negroes. Why don't you go back to Africa since you're from there? The African people said, come back to Africa. Haile Selassie gave these people Shashamani and all that. True. They're still here. How come they're still here? How come they didn't go back to Africa where they're from? And then now they're complaining when ish hit the fan now, Europeans liquidating all the property, because they told them that they're going to do that. property, all the property is going to go back to the government one day. Regardless of where it is that you live. Everybody did it. Every country did it. They either said, we're going corporate, or we're going to nationalize, and we're going to kick everybody out who doesn't belong here. Those that said, forget it, we're out of here, we don't want nothing to do with you people, we don't want any fruits from you, we don't want any whatever from you, we're going to make all our stuff ourselves. All those people are, they might have 20 people living in one house, but they're happy. They don't have to worry about cell phone towers radiating them and stuff like that. They got to worry about microwaves or whatever. You want to cook something? That big thing outside or whatever, put some wood in that, get the fire going, and cook if you want to cook. They don't worry about, flip the switch and they got rows of lights and whatever like that. They don't worry about none of that. They were like, we're gonna cut down our arrangements with these so-called people who we know are colonists, and we're gonna do our best to fend for ourselves. However that goes, whatever. And all the people were like, yeah, we like that guy, we're gonna put our money behind him, and the whole country backed this one individual. Now, the issue that the Caribbeans and whoever have is that when they got to that state of, yeah, we're independent, we don't need you guys no more, whatever like that, these other independent whoever's came out saying that they can give them grant money for them to get back in. Hold on a second, but you just said, okay, so you just got independent from the colonists, and then the colonist comes now, instead of saying slavery, they say
loan.
Loan.
IMF.
Hey! Let's go to those colonists over there and get a loan at 8 million% interest or whatever. And let's go import stuff that we grow here, but then we can't export the stuff that we grow. And that's in the contract you guys signed? You guys can say, hold on a second. If we're going to sign this contract, maybe we'll change this part right here. We get to export our own stuff.
And we only import what we need.
We're not just importing stuff just to be importers because we're in debt and we need stuff. We don't really, we don't really use umbrellas here. If it rains, people walk in the rain here. So we don't really need umbrellas. Why do we have $80 billion contract with the umbrella people, but then no contracts for school supplies? And people are going...
The bleaching cream contract.
Right? They got bleaching cream contracts.
Now you need the umbrellas. It's true, you know,
right?
Those umbrellas.
They know exactly what it is that they're doing, but they can only do that with people who have no knowledge of their soul.
And the other thing to that is, in the Caribbean, they get involved in the politics too. They may set it up that they make a certain person win. That is going to continue to take away your power in terms of the things that you are actually doing that make you independent, like growing your own food and not importing. Because a lot of the countries in the Caribbean now are importing more than they're exporting.
Yeah.
Because they put these certain people in leadership.
Yeah.
That they've had in their pockets.
Right. Yeah.
And the people are so blinded by this thing. They're not even.
Isn't that grounds for self-governance?
Yeah.
And this time you realize, hold on a second, these guys put guys in. We never vote for none of these people. They put guys in. Cool, whatever. Now these guys are in. And then everybody's going with everything that these fraudulent people are in. Nobody said, hold on a second. For example, for the Jamaicans. Why don't we we can go talk to the Maroons or whatever. But they got their own land and stuff like that. They got their own government officials. They got their own whatever, everything that you need to be a government. Go try that. You tried IMF, that didn't work too well. We're in debt to those people. You tried, UN, whatever. That stuff didn't work. All right, let's go try these people and see if that stuff works. Nah, because they're talking, the rules, the Obia people, and you want to union with them because it's always us. Our thing is getting us over the hump to realize that since we play ourselves most, we should probably look to ourselves. Because just like you're saying, it's always one of us who's in power that, it's like everybody's talking about the thing with the Kanye, right? Kanye met with Trump, and oh my God, they didn't talk about anything. He just sat there and he rambled and whatever. Well, how come he's not, that's the president, he should be talking for the black issues of the whatever. Trump is the CEO of a corporation. Kanye just went and sat down with CEO of Sony.
And so did P. Diddy, and so did Snoop Dogg, and so did...
And whoever else.
And basically said, though, he said that this is basically a corporation. This is a company. This is our company.
Right.
Right. Everybody else do it.
But people need to see that those are all distractions to take
Yes.
away from who you are.
Yes, from what we're supposed to be doing. Yeah.
And people buy into it because you'll see Conway Express, and we all know that Trump is an apprentice. Like, he's in there for that purpose. It's about, again, the reality show of America. It's the general thing. And people are distracted by it. I'm like, well, why do you spend so much time? Do you know how much you can do in that time to bring yourself out of, you don't need, why does everybody always feel they have to go to this person or that person or whatever organization to uplift themselves or to get out of their situation?
But our people have been conditioned to be followers. They haven't been taught to do for self.
What I notice is those same distractions, which are being like the distraction. Remember, there's an old saying: is follow the distraction. Listen to what the distraction, not the distractor. Listen to the distraction's message, not the distractor, right? So that's falling in line with like there's a whole bunch of. They know where our heads at. They know where our people's minds are. So they'll throw like how Kanye West is talking about the 13 and 14 Amendment citizen. Like he knows where our heads at. So he knows our people are going to be. We're not going to be questioning what's 13 and 14 Amendment, right? So the distractor and the distraction are two different things, right? So you got to look out for that too, right?
It's decoding, really. You have to decode whatever. There might be one message that's going across, but there's something underlying.
Yeah.
Like that.
The most underlying thing that we all must always keep in our mind cognizant is we are all actors. They are acting.
Yeah.
Acting president.
Yeah. Like people were talking about, I heard people talking about, for example, because he didn't really speak on behalf of the people or whatever like that, he's got a new album coming out, nobody should buy his album or whatever to prove something. Like, people not buying his stuff right now anyways like that.
And that was the whole idea, because he's out of the public. He needs something to get attraction. To either negative, positive, it doesn't matter. It's just
publicity is publicity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's the same with Trump. They both feed each other.
Yeah, of course.
Trump really is a dumb, whatever. I don't want to say it, but
he's very articulate.
He's clever.
Very intelligent.
He's clever.
Because of the fact that, look at this, for example. This is his brand.
Articulate. He's clever.
He has an app called "Let's Make America Great Again."
Yeah.
It doesn't say "Let's make the U.S. great again." It says "Let's make America great again." Right? Keyword America. Right? So we gotta look at those things. So he's playing us. He's playing us, right? He's playing us.
I noticed something. Even with that hat brings forth an awareness. Like there's something that needs to be done. Even though the people might not know who is America, there's like even a nationality. Nobody's gonna really say nationality and not know that there's a function. There's a understanding, there's a mindset that has to come up out of that word nationality to cause one to do something. So going back on that topic where we as the people in the Caribbean, the other people exclusively coming from those islands, maybe that's an outlook that we haven't looked at as yet. Knowing that we need to get into politics because we need to better ourselves as for the government, and the government's always for the people, by the people. But the people, them are they studying to know what these words mean? Are they studying to know how to use these words to bring forth a change for the better, or what they're aiming to bring out for the future's sake? Or they just, oh yeah, you do it for us. Yeah, you could do it for us. You talk like that. Oh, you look like that. They're gonna know you mean this when you say that. No, are they trying to do things for themselves?
I see it differently with MAGA, the M-A-G-A, Make America Great Again. For him, it's a symbol of when the time when, because Trump and his father came there and they were able to do anything and make money. I mean, anything, illegal, whatever it is. Yeah. And that's basically what it is. Take advantage as much as possible to make money. It has nothing to do with the spiritual aspect of America or whatever. It's about money. Trump is about money, and like they worship money. Like, no, you should never forget that. And Kanye West is the same thing. It's about building himself up. These guys admire guys like that because they forgot who they are. Yeah. They forgot who they are. It's not even they see success as having money. Trump is a miserable man. Everybody could see that. He's not happy. He doesn't know love. All he knows is that money. It's not even good business because a lot of people have nasty things to say of what he did, how much people he owes money, how much people, how many times he went bankrupt, how many times he robbed the America taxes. Yeah. That's what he wants back, that nastiness, so he can just feel good about making money.
Well, as Moors, right, if we see a hat that says, "Make America Great Again," the first thing we should be thinking, because we're America. Exactly. First, we should be buying out lots of those hats and wearing them. Right? We shouldn't be thinking about them. No, I know what you mean, sis. I'm just saying on the other side of it, though, right? America is us. So make America, we say, damn, Trump wants to do something good. He wants to make America great again. Why aren't we doing that for ourselves? Why aren't we trying to make America great again?
But he's doing that for them, and they're funding him.
Right, but we know that we're American. We know we're America, right? So we should be trying to make America. We should see that as a sign to us.
Yeah, for us,
right? To start moving. Right. This is he's giving you a lane. I'm not a Trump supporter, but clearly there's a lane there. If he's saying make America great again, and you know you're America, what are you sitting down for?
Or even
it's time to start moving.
Yeah. Even on another level, if we know that we're America, then it's going to be the Americans that make it great again. It's not going to be anybody else.
No beggar nation can't.
Not even Trump himself.
Not even him.
No,
he's not from there.
Right?
He's German.
But Kanye is the Mont, and he's wearing a red hat. And there's no. By the way, just a note, I haven't noticed that there's a Star-Spangled Banner on that, which is rare. If something says, it's on that frequency, make America what it's supposed to be. Then it's surprising there's no
Star-Spangled Banner.
Yeah. But also
they rap that.
Trump was born into money, so I wouldn't say that he's all about money. Like, I don't know, like only Allah knows a person's heart, but if you had to guess on his ambitions, I wouldn't say it's money. I would say, now I was the president, I was Trump. Yeah. And what did I do while I was president? So be careful because, it's that time now where you have the Moor coming to the president and sitting down in a red hat, and everything is all good. So is that the guy you want representing you? Or do you want the person who you elected to represent you? So in the next 100, 200, 300 years, are you going to have proper representation? Just like you've been completely complaining about representation for the past 100 years. Yeah. So it's not about getting knowledge of self is just the first step. Oh, I'm a Moor. I'm indigenous. These are the Americas. This is Morocco. Okay, that's basic. That's below basic. Because then you got to realize there's other people out there. We're already on it. We're already going to be representing that, and you got to speak just as loud as they do. Because they're not going to be about it like you are. Because like you said, they're going to be about money. For them, they're looking for money. Kanye came from working class, lower class, whatever. He's looking for money. Trump came from already having money. He's looking for a legacy. If he could be the first president, if he could be the what do they call that? Reparations president. Yeah. He's not blinking twice on being the reparations president. But is that what you want? Do you want, you know, a bag of notes that aren't going to be worth anything in years to come?
That's true what you're saying, the legacy part, because if you look at where we're at, we're lost because they wrote everything down. They changed everything and wrote it down and created their world, right? They created this thing that we are supposed to follow. And we don't do a lot of right. I was just talking to somebody about that because right here in Quebec, for example, the Caribbean woman that came here basically helped to build this nation. And when Quebec speak about their culture, the only thing they're talking about is the language. But there's more to culture than language. And what makes Quebec a beautiful place, it's not a language, it's the stuff that was done to make it what it is. And a lot of the Caribbean women, they don't tell their story. The reason I'm saying this is the recent win, one of the ladies who had went out of, I don't follow the politics, but she went out of politics, came back in and she made a speech and saying, oh, she sent in a letter to one of the people that was running under this, what is it called, SAG? SAG or whatever, the new party that is in now in government. SAG? Okay, so she sent letters to all of them talking about caregiving, okay? And basically that was covered by the Caribbean woman, from infants to elderly, right? And the reason that happened was when because I'm here a while, so when the language...
In this building?
No, in Quebec.
Okay.
I'm in Quebec a while. So when they put the language laws in the 70s, okay, I was already here. So it was mostly English. Okay, so when they put the French laws in, the women that came, they were going to school to become nurses and other stuff, and their kids were on their own. And they were taking care of other people, other people's kids and so forth.
I got here in '79, so I remember that. It was.
So when now the opportunity to get the jobs, the big jobs in the hospital and so forth, they squeezed them out by using the French language. And what they did was they took homes, they bought homes and created their own facility for taking care of people at home. Now she's claiming it, okay? I was really pissed. She's claiming it and said, well, we're trying to do this. There's a home that started somewhere in Quebec, and there's one there, and we want to put on them all over. I said, what's she talking about? The English Caribbean people were doing this. This is how they survived. This is how they were able to buy property. There's black women who own property here and over there because they were squeezed out because they used language as this cultural thing, and we created that culture. So, I mean, we're not fighting. We're not fighting for rights here anymore. When I was here as a young person, the English used to fight. I mean, that's where I got that from.
You're saying that because I know, not coming off topic at all, you know, but I know I have a 1611 King James Version Bible, and when you look in that Bible, it says Batel, right? B-A-T-T-E-L. It spells like that because, and it breaks it down. If you have an old law dictionary, it's going to say Batel is really where a court is in session. But a lot of times our mindset is not even having the literature, as Noble Julian mentioned, that we have to change our literature as a people because we're thinking that court is only when you go into some place where a bunch of so-called European people are there sitting down looking dressed with all kind of symbols on the wall. But essentially where there's kind of differences in agreement, that's court in session right then and there. So we have to know how to pick our battles, but how are we going to know how to pick our battles if our mind state has been programmed by corporations?
But that's the thing why I'm bringing up the issue about writing stuff down. Like telling our story when it's happening, always putting it down. Because we don't have anything to pass on to say, this is what we've done here, and what we want to see happen by whatever year. We're not doing it. We're not writing the books. We're not doing anything.
Yeah, see, that's only going to happen with those that are in that lane or on that frequency. So, like, in order to see the change has to come from those who are doing the changing.
Sorry, I had to continue because we're on the quotas thing. This is why he's always saying fake news, because he's actually creating the fake news to put him in a legacy, right? Right? So this is why he's always with the media and so, because he really wants to create this world, because there's different worlds, especially with the Facebook and all of that. There are many worlds. People now have to start thinking, hey, there's too much of this. You have to write your story because it's so easy to change it with what's available in technology. It's very evil because you just have to like reframe it or readjust, and you see it happens all the time.
Yeah. Well, again, too, like when we look at our people, they could, you can give them the true stuff, they'll change it, and they still wouldn't even, it's still not going to mean anything. They'll see the spot there, stuff got whited out or whatever, something wrote over that, and they're not questioning about who wrote that out, right? I mean, we know that, like you're saying, in order, like Noble Drawley teaches with the Moors, in order to change the people, you must change their literature. If the people's defense is not in them speaking for it, for themselves, then they have no defense. If they're not the ones that are going to talk up for police beating them up, ain't no one police, don't think no police is going to come talk to you. Don't think some politician is going to talk to you. Again, it's stressing or continuing to stress the importance of the common unity, the importance of the community, the importance of Moors dealing with, like we were talking about our initiative in our temple about the family services, where Moors should be able to call on Moors if there's whatever, right? You're about to strangle your husband for something? Don't strangle me. Call the Moors. And let's mediate and see if we could figure out, you know, maybe it is supposed to get strangled. You know what I mean? And you know, it's led to that place. But it has to be us dealing with ourselves. You know what I mean? Some financial whatever. You go talk to anybody else out here. If they got issues, they're going their own. Chinese guys don't go to Chinese bank to go get the loan for whatever. You're not going to the bank we go to and get 20% interest. You're getting 3% interest at his bank. Why would he even go to the other bank for it? And then everybody of that nation is going to do that, support that. You know? We make the joke about this chicken spot, Jollibee's. Jollibee? Jollibee.
Chicken spot.
Some chicken spot. Was it Korean or something like that? Filipino chicken spot. Where when they opened the spot, they had stuff lined up going around the building 4 hours to get a bucket of chicken or whatever. But that's how they rep their stuff, right? When we line up around it up, Kevin Durant put out something or whatever, we were lining up around the corner. LeBron put up something, we were lining up around the corner. But for our own stuff, one of these quote-unquote scholars drop a book, you're not lining up around the corner to go buy his book or whatever. Right? These are the issues that, unfortunately, we have to deal with.
And I'm going backtracking on the conversation about, you know, we not knowing the literature base in support of what the brother's speaking on too, because like there's been a Brother Amari, he put out his proclamation to the RCMP, and it was pertaining to right to travel as we as a nation. Now, things of that sort, they're looking at it from, okay, we're saying we're Moors, they see other Moors out there, those Moors are fighting, talking about fighting for driving. But Moors know that the language is not driving. So until the people are able to identify themselves, what they're meaning to say, and they're saying what they're meaning to say, and instead of having somebody taking your own perception, oh, you mean this? Oh yeah, oh no, okay, no, you can't do this. And automatically you're just accepting what somebody's telling you because they have on something shiny as a shield or a badge or whatever the case may be. Until we as a people can really know these things for ourselves. Why somebody is saying we can't do this, or why we know we can do this. You know, that's the point I'm gonna lead off on that.
Keep on that, it's the same thing with the sisters saying, you have to know when to stop. You have to know when to draw the line and say, yo, that's not. You have burned on, did so much things to our ancestors, it's like, it has to come to a time when we all collectively recognize that we have to bring back what our ancestors done.
So, in other words, based on what I've been hearing, corporation had put things in place to support us, but we don't know.
Yeah, there's that part of it.
It starts with knowing who you are. Once you know who you are, you know how to represent.
Because remember that like the things that they had put in place for us, we should have been used already.
That's what I'm saying, it's there. Like,
Well, it's not there no more, because now you have all these other immigrants here that they have to do something with the stuff, or it's gonna look crazy.
That's what's going on with the Caribbean people in the UK. Is there's people coming from other places into the UK
That are gonna take $6 an hour,
and they're just looking at,
and these guys are fighting for 11.
yeah.
Well, if these guys are gonna get 6 and you're fighting for 11, we're shipping the 11 people out, and we're hiring all the $6 people.
Unless you could take that standard, that $11 standard that you live by, and build something for yourself.
For
whereby
yourself, under that 11.
your community as a whole is beneficial to the
society.
Society.
Okay, you just said you put a proclamation for something.
Yeah.
And what they put it in for, there was already something in place.
Right.
Already.
Yeah, relative to what we put in.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not expecting to go try to get something that's not in place already.
Right.
Because we don't know.
Yeah.
Like look into Donald Trump. When Donald Trump, you just clearly said Donald Trump is a president, is a CEO of a company.
Yeah.
But we didn't know that America was a company.
Right.
At one point.
See
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We were, I don't know who told us that it
Right.
was like a nation or whatever.
Right.
But at first we didn't know.
Yeah.
America's leading the land.
You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
United States.
Yeah.
We didn't know that
Right.
at one point.
Yeah.
So, based upon the Constitution, based upon the Declaration of Human Rights, and all these things that have been written in law.
Yeah. That stand up for that.
That give us standing, because we don't know.
Right.
At least based on what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of
Us being not
learning.
being competent, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But again, like being knowing and then knowing and being wise is two different things. You can know all the stuff that you want, but wisdom comes from applying what you know. So our people could know it, but if they're not, then they're still not knowing.
So the U.S. is a corporation. Who owns it?
Vatican.
Some man who owns it then, basically.
Yeah, it's not, it's not the people that own it.
The people
It's
just
a
think
personal.
people just think it's theirs or whatever.
Well, look at it like,
People work for it, basically. They work for it.
yeah, they're employees.
They're employed. They just don't
They're
know
not
that.
citizens.
They just don't know.
Yeah, they think that.
They are also assets too.
Yeah.
Because you
they're
can
branches of the incorporation, really.
Yeah. Because you can put it doesn't matter if you're born here or if you got a citizen card. If you take the red number that's on both of them, you can see how much they're selling you for.
Yeah, Mark.
Just wanted to put out there though, I mean, I've been talking with Cujo for this over a period of time. I think that most of us in this room know that something's up. I think one of the things we had initially came here to sort of go over the nationality paperwork and sort of break that down. But what happened was it sort of, we were in real time and realized that stuff happened that allowed us to sort of have this much more open forum. But I ask us as a community, what are we going to do about this? Like, we can keep talking about this.
But what's going to be
But
done?
what the F are we going to plan to do about this? How do we get from point A to point M, and that meaning all of us having a house, work, you know, stability? How do we do that? To me, that's what's missing. Just hold on, I just wanted to finish. That, you know, my mom, she, you know, one of these 3-degree ladies, teaching black history, all kinds of nonsense, you know, trying to break the stuff down to them, to them about this. We're entrenched in the system. So we come about this sort of from a perspective that we're talking with Donald Trump, the government, all the stuff that's absolutely an illusion. But we're not dealing with the reality of our problem, of our community, and how are we going to get out of this mess? So I put it to all of us here. Like, in the Montreal territory, what are we going to do? What is going to happen next year, by next year, that we can say, okay, look, this is a tangible...
Okay, I want to say something. Last year was the first time I came to your meeting. I give my number, I give my information. I didn't really get any calls for what's happening from
Who did you give your number to?
That was probably to me, and in defense, well, and maybe it was to you. I don't know.
Everybody took my information, but let me just finish.
I didn't get your information.
No, but I'm gonna take ownership of that.
Okay, so my wife, all right.
So anyway, what I'm saying to this is, one of our biggest problem is following up, okay?
Follow through. Remember I said that
right,
what I wanted to talk about?
Okay, now, I've been working in the communities. I know how to use. I could say I was one of those who were used in my community, but on that same level, on that same thing, I learned, like, all this information. I'm actually using it as my weapon. Like the government, what they do. I've had situations. I keep taking them and finding ways to use them as my weapon. They're not going to be using it against me. I fight for things that people say that could never happen, and I make it happen. Like, even not knowing all the knowledge that you guys bring, I basically just set myself up to be victorious. That's my Facebook name, Victorious Vaughn. So, any situation, I'm gonna win. That's my attitude, okay? So, I've worked in the community, and I've worked in jobs in cooperation or whatever, and I see what's going on. So a lot of it, I have both. I have education and I have my skills. I can design, I can do drawing, painting, whatever, graphics, computer. I learned everything. I didn't complete my degree in human relations, but I study also. I like studying people. I like studying what's going on around me. And even when I go to the dentist with the doctor, I'm observant. When my machine needs fixing, and I fix it for the first time, I'm not calling that guy again because I'm observing what he's doing, so I become a mechanic. We have to be aware of what we need to do.
Are you a Gemini?
Aries. So when you said what we're going to do, what we should be doing, everybody should feel that they have to empower themselves first of all, okay? Whether it's through knowledge or skills or whatever, doesn't matter what it is. Okay? Yes, sometimes I get laughed off because it's a struggle. I was a single mother. I'm on my own basically. My son doesn't get it. I teach him. He has the information. But because of how he was brought in the system and the people around him, he's still kind of, you know, whatever. But what I'm trying to say is recently I got some information around, like, for the areas like La Chute. I went to this session for employment. But I specifically wanted to know what the areas, like the towns and so, were offering. I wasn't interested in corporations, okay? And there's a few that's offering lands for you to come out there, like La Chute and Gatineau Valley. Nova Scotia's one, people too, and there's stuff like that. For me, I think, I dream big. I think big. I'm thinking community. I'm thinking like farming and growing our own food and stuff like that. I'm not thinking, like I used to put on, when I was in college and high school, I used to put on like fashion shows and dinners. I'm not interested in that. You know, I'm interested in building and going further. That's what so this is a problem. Like he says, the talk and talk and talk, I'm not one of those. If I know it's going to end up in that, I just don't go. Basically.
Yeah, well, so I just want to respond, beautiful, beautiful sort of introspection. But one of the things, or a couple of things, but I'm going to focus on one of the things you said. You talked about being a single mom. So right now we're looking at the generation that's coming beyond you. Your child now doesn't have what I would consider, from a certain perspective, a healthy, from whatever, or maybe maybe it's more healthy.
He is an awesome father. He has 2 kids. He is the best father I've ever seen in my lifetime. That's what I'm just going to tell you because of what I put in him. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, but my point being, I came from a broken family as well. The point being that until our families, because the family is the triangle in symbology, mother, father, son. Until we have that as a normal sort of activity, our community and our culture is going to fail. Because ultimately, once you divide the family, it's divide and conquer. That's a Sun Tzu sort of, it's an art of war, it's a concept. So, however good your father can be, or his father can be, obviously if you two weren't able to sort of continue on in that bond, there's something that your child is missing. And this, and it really is about the child, isn't it? So, and it's really about the children. Right. So ultimately, we have to repair our communities. We have to repair our families. We have to repair ourselves. Right. And so, as I said, you know, I heard everything you said, but part of me thinks a lot of times that's a defensive reaction. You know, as an example, I have European friends. When I talk to them about racism, oh, I got a black friend.
What are you saying is a defensive reaction?
Well, so just part of when we talked about this, you're like, I do this, you know what I'm saying?
No, what I'm saying, we have to be empowered ourselves. This is why I was saying those things.
But what he meant is, we need to get, you know, into it as a group of people, you know?
But that's what I meant when you say I, what I'm saying, exactly, I'll camelback in what he's saying. Until we come together as a community, you know, we come here, we'll see you guys again in 6 months. You're saying,
why I was saying
hold on.
keep the contact.
But you're saying to me that I didn't contact you. Why didn't you contact us?
I didn't have, actually, I didn't have your information.
All right.
We filled out a paper, something that was there.
All right. Okay. All right. So, I mean, as I say,
something maybe you should put up is some type of structure, since, you know, you guys, you know, they're already, you know, go to those situations and build up and start cover, maybe here in Montreal, some of us, or, you know, the people will need, you know, some of the new people will need some structure, so we can all together go through in 6 months maybe, so you know, we can, when you come back from A to Z, 0 to whatever,
or A to D.
Yeah, you know, then we, you know, go through to those steps, you know, that you guys put through.
Well, for example, like the step 1 would be the people here getting themselves together. Because we could have all the elaborate whatever and bring in this and the charts and the whatever, but if it's one individual that's here, it's not equating to what it's supposed to be. But if the people here take it on themselves, for example, it might be one individual that calls everybody else. Doesn't have to be a hierarchy, a head of the whatever. Because once you start getting into that, you start getting into that group thing, and then you start straying away from the fact that this is about nationhood.
That's true. That's a fact.
And us dealing with our issues, not us creating something to deal with our issues. And then we create the thing, and then the issues don't get dealt with. How about we just deal with the issues? We don't need a building for that. We go outside, meet under a tree, deal with our issues. You know what I mean? So,
And it's the same thing with what he was saying, when Grand Sheikh Cujo was touching on the Holy Quran, the instruction book. If we're all collectively following the instruction book, there should be no issues, right? Collectively. But are we there collectively? Like the Prophet said, there's only going to be a handful saved, right? So where's our head first, collectively? Like us, individually, where are you at to say that, you know, we want to see the nation go somewhere further with this the movement? Where are you first, right? You know what I mean? Where are you first, right?
Yeah, and to speak to that too, it's like wherever you're at, there's somewhere you want to be, right? If we're talking about nation-headed community, so you have to realize that, if you, like you said, you worked in the community, right? And you work with people, so the sister, so you have to question, why are you working with those people? Did you accomplish your goal, or did you separate before you accomplished your goal? Because if you didn't accomplish your goal, you should still be working with those people. But you work with them based on having a common goal. So if you don't have a common goal, it doesn't matter if there's other dark-skinned people in the city. You can't be looking at them and feeling any kind of way about them. Once you find out that you and them don't have the common goal, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who they are, where they came from. You shouldn't have any feeling toward them. That's neutral. That's just a body to you. That should be your mentality, because as Moors, when we say Moors, it's not we're going off into something that was different than you guys. When we say Moors, we say, okay, there's basic values and principles that we agree to as human beings, and basic perspective of who we are as melanated people. And if you don't agree with that, we know you're lying to yourself, or you don't get it.
It's like the same thing.
So even though there's a leader and a founder, and there's a history and a story to it, there has to be. There's a story to everything. We're not just going to come together and say, okay, we're uniting because we're black people and we're oppressed. Nobody does that. There's culture that goes along with it. There's art that goes along with it. There's a history, there's a story that goes along with it. And just as pointing in case, like, everything that does happen with the celebrities and Kanye and Jay-Z and all that stuff, it's a distraction on one level. It's another level, it's pointing you in a certain direction. Certain artists have moved in a certain direction over the past 20 years of their careers, right? Certain things in politics have moved in a certain direction. You know, the Nation of Islam has moved in a certain direction where they never used to talk about Moors. And all of a sudden, 2 years ago, it's Moors and all the most respect for Moors and the most respect for Drew Ali, and don't ever say anything bad about Moors, and tapes and videos that came out that weren't out before, that now they're releasing them on YouTube showing Elijah Muhammad's brother talking about Moors and wearing a fez. So there's a direction that things are going. If you're down for that direction, then it should be whoever's around you, you agree that you're all going in that same direction, and there should be no questions.
And again, too, the same direction, the common goal is because it's going to benefit the nation, not an individual. Not because it's going to benefit me getting out of CRA, whatever issues, means that we should all go in this direction because it's going to help me out of whatever. You know what I mean? It should be, the direction should be based on where it is. Everybody's going to get something out of it.
That's like with the whole structure thing. Like how he's saying we need to have a structure. There's already a structure. Like the whole thing. There's already a template set out for us. We don't need to go into
and that's why I explained it to the brother, like, because some people don't. You'll never, like, there's things I don't know about Moorish science and the Moorish Science Temple, but I recognize two things: values and principles. And if we share the same values and principles, there's no reason for me not to work with you on some level to get something done. Right? So when you get to that concept of values and principles, then nothing else can touch that. Right? Values and principles is untouchable in a civilized society. As soon as values and principles that are fundamental are touched, then the whole structure of the civilization is
threatened. If you're saying you're a Moorish American, that means that you're under the Prophet over Jihadis teaching. And you're saying you're claiming to have those principles which the Prophet laid out for you, which are the love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
And then the things that he spoke about in those chapters that he read that came from Drew Ali, chapter 46 and so on, right? All those things, instructions for a child, instructions for a husband. Like, if you disagree with any of those things, then that's why we might not hear from you again. But if you agree with all those things, then there's no reason why
we're not to be
involved.
Same thing with
on some level.
With like what you're saying, the coming together of the people, right? It's going to be the ones who are about coming together that's going to come together. The ones who are about not coming together, you won't see them.
Doesn't matter how dark they are.
Yeah, which is why,
Nubian or whatever.
even if we use Brother Alfonso example, right? Like of all the times that we went to Ottawa to do things, right? You're looking at people who are there that know what his position is. That they know, that they might have a certain link for whatever connection they have, right? If that was some black agenda or whatever, they'll use that link. Just because he's saying more and Islam and we're a fez or whatever, we can't really, because, we're the Africans and we gotta do the African whatever. Like, that's not what it's about. We've been doing that forever and it's gotten us nowhere.
Appearances. Looking at the
What I
appearances,
mean?
not sticking to the values and principles.
Act as one.
Right, but again, if we're, like we brought up earlier, or just now, the principles prove that we're acting as one. All the fezzes around here prove that we're acting as one. We know that we're Moors, proves that we're acting as one. Always got the drink with the brown with the white cover, some people got the other cover or whatever like that. You already know you got to drink from the same spot. Right? If it's going to happen, it's going to be by the ones who want it to happen. Back in the day, we had a saying about there was such a lack of activity by people who should be active in certain things and choose not to do anything, knowing that their little bit that they do is going to help everybody, but no, they don't want to do anything, right? Prove to us that it had to be only 4 people that built the pyramids. There's no way they're going to get 500,000 people to help roll these bricks up some goddamn 500 feet or whatever, right? 4 guys who want some move your stuff with your mind or whatever built the pyramids. Because ain't no 10 guys pushing no pyramid bricks, 50-ton bricks or whatever, up some stuff's bigger than a skyscraper. It's not happening like that. Had to be individuals who are on the mind frame to know, hey, we can make these bricks light as a feather with our thoughts. Let's build some stuff before we lose these powers or whatever. These people just went nuts and just started building stuff with thought power. Building things that today you don't even know how this stuff got there, how they built those. Where's the blueprint for these things or whatever? Nothing. You just know that they exist. And they exist only because people were on a certain mind frame. Right? Every individual took a side. Whether this is my side, this is how my side is going to be. Because of the unity of these minds, all the 4 sides of the pyramids were equal. That you're amazed and mesmerized and in awe of these pyramids and you got selfies in front of the pyramids and all that type of stuff. You didn't check that. That's just the surface. When you go under a pyramid, that thing's going for 500 miles or whatever like that. This thing got tunnels within tunnels within tunnels, the cities underground, underneath pyramids, they got cities or whatever. And that was just on the surface, just so the people who are on the top say, oh yeah, we made it. After you go inside, it's a whole different thing going on when you go inside. There wasn't all these people that came together to do that. When we look at some of the greatest organizations that our people came up with, 2 people started those. 2 people started those, had a vision, and people jumped on board after. You look at how many of these so-called leaders or whatever went to the grave broke, went to the grave from prison, went to the grave from some old age home or whatever. But everybody got their book on their shelf. Everybody's there. Oh, yeah, honors to whoever. We don't respect our own and stuff like that, like we should. And if we did, we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in. If we had honor for ourselves and our culture and our foremothers and whatever, we wouldn't be in the situations that we're in. We would be out of the mess by now. Especially if we have things we're talking about, 1913, Nobujuali presented this information, and in that time, between 1913 to 1929, Moors had manufacturing companies and all that. Like their own stuff, making their own products, not going to somebody else to make their products, had their manufacturing companies making their own products.
Pardon the interjection, but it's really, I'm glad you mentioned that, because brother, I know a lot of us, we feel like we have to go to these educational, schools to get these titles, whether doctor, degree, or architect. And when you actually just read the law that governs these titles, majority of these laws are not even saying that you have to have a license, whatever, to practice the title that people are idolizing. So when we just start to really know ourselves and look into the law and see ourselves as we look into the law, then we can start seeing that, okay, it just really takes for me to be active and be true to what it is that I see and that I'm passionate about. And to start from that ignition.
And even on that level, the individual, the individual who, let's say, the individual who crochets or whatever, right? Anybody who knows crocheting should go to the person who crochets. If we're saying it is a community, whatever. The individual who edits properly, everybody who writes a book should go to that editor right there. They should have so much books to edit because more so, hey, you're an editor, then hey, you know what I mean? I'm gonna friggin' give my book to you because I'm gonna get my editing done properly with this more. That much should have stuff piled up. Too much stuff to edit for them to not have work to do. The more who knows how to fix whatever should be getting only calls from his people when stuff want to get fixed. You going outside, go ask a Jew, hey Jew, who you call if you need whatever? I'm gonna call a Jew. Calling no nigger to fix my stuff or whatever. No
My
way.
nigger fix it. My nigger fixes it.
Right? Talk to the Italian guy. Hey, Italian guy, what's for dinner? Oh, we got rigatoni and zerloni and whatever like that. And I rice and peas and jerk chicken and all that kind of stuff. You're not talking about that. They'll support their own. Because that's how it works. Support your own, you're prosperous. Don't support your own, then you perish. That's just how it goes. Right? People, to the point where, even no offense to anybody in here is Nigerian or whatever, but people know that, certain stuff you don't get from Nigeria. It's just because it's probably not going to be what it is, whatever. Chinese guys have the
China, yeah.
whatever. Well, yeah, but not really, because we know that if you're buying that from those guys, you're not getting the top of the line.
That's not a Gucci handbag. Yeah. How much paper? $20.
Right?
Yeah,
bro.
So what's the second step?
Say that again?
After coming together, what's like the second step we have to work on?
So it's everybody recognizing what their role is to make the machine work. So when you look at other people again, they already know who they are. Once they know who they are, now they take whatever skill it is that they have and they use their skill to benefit their nation, their group, or whatever it is. Right?
Speaking of which, so the brother, so
your appellation? Amani? Amani, are you living in Montreal?
Yeah.
So Amani from Montreal is standing around his laptop, his tablet, and he just wants your contact information and your skills. Put it in the notes section about what you do, whatever, what you can offer. All right, so that tablet's coming around. That way, we all have, somebody has all the contact, and we all have
That's good, yeah, that's good.
All right?
And then it shouldn't be limited to just the tablet having everybody's contact, but everybody have everybody's contact.
Yeah, I'm saying it's like,
You know what I mean? Like everybody having everybody's contact.
Like this one, like this. Sorry,
No, go ahead, bro.
But the sister said she gave me her number, and I never received the number. She gave it to my empress. My empress is, giving baby. But if you see that I'm not contacting you, you gotta make also
Yeah,
that.
I asked Juliana a few times to get you in touch with me, to give you my number to call me.
You don't have my number specifically?
No, I don't have
Okay, I'm gonna give it to you.
Go in home and knock on the door late at night though.
But what you
know Tahudi though, right?
You should have also, maybe that day, that's what the brother.
No, well,
man.
Juliana, she's in Toronto. I'm in contact with her. I often tell her this. Did you give them my number? Did you tell them to call me? Blah, blah, blah. And she says, well, she did send somebody. I don't know. So.
No, I mean, that day, the brother wanted, man, also, you could have also taken, all of us numbers.
Like
going forward, it's going to be much better now. We're
always have one,
going forward, it's going to be better,
The point being just that if the individuals, it's like when we say what's wrong, like the Moors who are there, if there's something going on, we let the Moors know. The Moors are going to be there. Whoever else shows up, that's on them. You know what I mean? Like, we're not catering to other people that are doing whatever they want to do. We're catering to what we do. So if we put out a call for something, we don't have expectations of other people being there. We already know that this is a call for Moors and those who are on that frequency. Anybody else, if they show up, that's a bonus. But we're not waiting for them at the door like, oh yeah, when they get here, then we're gonna whatever. We're on our schedule. Like, same thing that the people have to be on here, that everybody has everybody's contact, everybody knows that, I can call up a Moor at any time for whatever. Doesn't even have to be anything specific. It might be just, hey, how you doing? Just call them to say what's up. Because we're the only Moors up here. Ain't nobody else for me to call. You know what I mean? Like when you look at our brother Khalid in the back, right? Khalid's probably four of all the people who went to high school with or whatever, he's one of the 4 people that are on it. That we know, that we all went to high school together. That if he's on it, I'm on it, then anybody else who went to high school, they should be on it. Like, why wouldn't you be on it? When we were going to rob the bay and all that stuff, everybody was game to go. You know what I mean?
Smash and grab.
Like, smash and grab, everybody's game to go. 5-finger discount, let's go.
The more, the
Wear
more.
your baggy pants. We're gonna go in there. We're gonna go nuts. No, whatever. We're gonna go nuts when we go in there. Knowledge yourself. Oh yeah. Well, not really. Right?
Yeah. Smash and grab. Yo, what's his name going? Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Come. Let's go. Is so gonna be there? The big bag? Make sure I get my 5 shirts. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like we know that this is not for everybody. It's cool. It's all right. But the ones that are with this, that's where we should be putting our energy and our time. The ones who are on it. Even if it's only 4 people, then we're gonna go all out for 4 more. We're gonna go all out. We're gonna throw it all in.
Yep.
For 4 more, so we can do some stuff or get some stuff done.
Why don't we have a sign-in sheet?
Say again? Sign-in sheet? Yeah, there's another thing. You know what I mean?
It's going around right now.
Where do you
I think they have the iPad going on.
You live here?
No, Ottawa.
Oh, Ottawa? Okay, those are Ottawa Moors?
Yeah, we came up together.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so that's not far. Like you said, we should be, it's only a hop, skip, and a jump from here to Gatineau, right? It's only when I'm 45 minutes, I get there. No.
Yeah, flight.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Speed
well,
is not in the Constitution, by the way.
Oh, it's those the brother wrote some things down on the whiteboard, and I remember you briefly touched on BeHAVE.
Yeah.
Could you touch on that? Like,
Okay, yeah, for sure. Okay, so as what Brother Omar said, you know, when are we going to have this? When are we going to have that? Right? Have. You know, Moors want to have money. Look at the word money. This means mono eye. One eye. Money. One eye? One eye? So Moors want to have land, Moors want to have rights. But Moors don't behave. Look at the word behave. To behave. Beloved, beloved, BeHAVE. So there's a certain level of behave. Okay. IOR. Okay. This is a comparative in differences in degrees. So when you say behavior, the different types of behavior, the different levels of behavior will determine your level of what you get. Almost like confirming the, well, it's what you know is what you'll be and get. According to, you know, if you know this much of the Constitution, one thing I know that they can't even do with me is court of competent jurisdiction. Now, if I'm telling you that I'm Aboriginal Indigenous and I'm a Moor and you don't know, you just demonstrated that what's in the books, Library of Congress, and libraries, internet, wherever. Anybody, Moors, we were in Spain, 7-Eleven. First of all, there's no Spain in 7-Eleven. Talking Moors raid Spain. Right? So we know in history that there's historical facts. And if you're in a position that's supposed to be in a position of power, in a position of a learning institute, and you're saying, oh, well, we have 700 kids in here, you keep demonstrating incompetency. You keep demonstrating a level of behavior. So your level of behavior, here's the Vienna Conference right here. Right? This, we already know, okay? It says on our proclamation, I forgot to bring do you have one here? Any proclamation? It's a proclamation? Or a name change or declaration? Yeah. The one page? Okay. Just the one page. So you guys are...
So you got it right there?
Yeah, declaration. That's the judicial notice.
You want the name correct?
Yeah.
Is this falling in line with behavior and behave?
Huh?
Is this falling in line with behave? The whole thing of behave?
Is this falling in line with? Yes, it is. Okay. Yes, it is. Okay. So on the proclamation, I mean on the name declaration, there's a few bullet points. One of the bullet points it references Article 4 in the Indigenous Rights, which says Indigenous people, in exercising their right to self-determination, okay, have the right to autonomy or self-government. Self-government. Behavior. Self-government, right? Okay. In self-government, in matters relating to their internal and local affairs. So, okay, local affairs as well as their ways and means of financing their autonomous functions. Okay, so a few things here. The right to autonomy or self-government, right after that, we close the book. Because after that, it's telling us that we have to construct our own acts, our own constitution, which ours did. Our nation has done exactly that. So now we close that book, everything in here is null and void, not applicable to us. Because we have our own laws, we have our own set of rules, we have our own administration functions. Right? We have our own laws and bylaws that we must follow and be followed by. Right? So that's number one. Now, what are those laws and what are those bylaws? What are those administrative functions? Are we operating like that? And if we are not, then how are you asking about how come we don't have? If you are not even having the appropriate accorded
Behavior.
Behavior. Thank you. Islam.
You're not really living according to the society that you're asking stuff from.
Or
you're not following those laws. You're not even. You're
according
just,
to your
it's like
own.
going. It's like going to China and say, "Hey, how come I don't get any of those lemon cakes for free?"
And China's going, well, because you
gotta
said
pay for
you
them.
have rules that you don't even follow.
Yeah, you don't follow our laws. Like you're not.
You don't even follow your own laws. Right? Right? So which makes de facto. So a corporation has policy, they don't follow their policy, that renders them de facto. That's right, the definition of de facto. But again, I would also like to just point out how in the preamble here, in the front, it says, acknowledging that the Charter of the United Nations, 1, the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, 2, and the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, 3, as well as the Vienna Declaration, 4, as well as the Program of Action, 5, affirm the fundamental importance of the right to self-determination, again, of all peoples, by virtue of which they freely determine their political status and freely pursue their economic, social, and cultural development. Oh, Vienna Declaration? Okay. Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations. Oh, so we're diplomats. We're ambassadors. Let's see what it says in here. Listen, my point is, if you're saying you're an ambassador, if you're saying you're a governor, if you're saying you're some type of representative of some body of people, then what you're saying is you're an ambassador. Okay, you're a representative of a nation, not a group, not a gang, not a corporation, a nation. So when you're a representative of a nation, there comes a certain type of behavior.
Like this is why, for example, with in the oral statements and stuff like that, you have, statements dually telling more, if you go in the alley, don't put your fez in there. Because fezzes don't belong in alleys because it's against the culture. People are going to look at it messed up because only messed up stuff goes on in an alley. Right? Again, giving you the behavior. You don't speak in intelligent tone.
Right.
Because you start talking crazy or whatever like that, they just think you're a nigger. No big deal. That's just what it's going to be. So, putting certain things there, like we were talking about with the Quran, these things say on them holy instructions by the Prophet. So it has to be looked at from that broad scale.
Instructions. Those are instructions.
Like you're actually getting what it is that you're supposed to get in order for you to do, so that when others see you demonstrating, they'll know, oh yeah. This is why you have the situation where other nations who engage Moors that know that they're Moors, they want to run up, take pictures and all that stuff, because we live by the standard that they have in their mind of what it is. Or that their granddad who had a fez on or whatever like that, and black and white pictures at their house or whatever, they're, oh yeah, remember our granddad used to, talk just like that, say things just like that, act just like that. Oh yeah, he was a vegetarian too. Oh yeah, he was a vegan, he was whatever, he didn't eat certain things or whatever like that. Once we, like Brother Digit saying, the standard set for us that we're founders of civilization. So as soon as they see fezzes, turbans, they have a certain expectation. Off the top, they have a certain expectation. Right? And not that we have to meet those expectations, but know that their reference point when it comes to who the Moors are, what the Moors are, or whatever, doesn't go into certain arenas. Certain arenas, they don't put that with Moors.
Right.
Because it doesn't even make sense to them that why would Moors do that? Why would Moors go there? Why would Moors dress a certain way, look a certain way? They're not even going there in their mind. Because the template that they have of what the Moors are is, I think there is a a masterpiece to them. The work that Moors have put in the world to make themselves a place in history. That reference point, people are looking at it today in real time. They're looking at, we're expecting you Moors today to do like this, and then fire happens.
Which is why even when they don't know about so much the history here, in the Moorish Empire over here, if they still have the reference point, it's like, okay, I'll take you for your word. Like, it's like, yeah, okay, you're a Moor, you said it. You know the reference points that I know. You know what I mean? Okay, so nobody argues.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the Algerian, like he didn't know, but he knew the reference points.
Yeah. It's like this. Went to this Hindustani store, and he's like, "No way, you're not. You're the Indian or whatever. You're not the indigenous or whatever. You're black and all this stuff." I'm like, "No, man. I'm the one. Like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean I'm not native? Like, how?" So then I was like, "Okay, where are you from or whatever?" He's like, "I'm from India or whatever." Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, "Isn't India Hindustan?" He stops, he's like, "Oh, so you are the free." You know what I mean? And then no issues after that. Oh yeah, tax anytime, just come on, we'll give you the stuff off or whatever.
No, it's okay. No, it's okay.
Because it's like,
And that's the thing too. They know, but they're gonna see.
You know, if you know,
what do you know? Right?
Because because they look at our people and whatever like that as con man and all that, drug dealer, rapper, and only doing BS. You start living according to certain principles and certain standards, these people bow down when they know that you know what's up.
Oh, of course, easy.
They bow down.
Easily. So I would just like to, I just wanted to,
I
just wanted to just drop on some things, because again, where's the boys? Right there. Look, right there. They're sons, baby. They're not boys, they're sons. Okay, so this again, and not to look at these documents again as they're being applied for us, but because we're like I say to the Moors here. First of all, me myself, I'm just maturing. As I'm 44, I'm just maturing as a man. As just maturing, we are just maturing as a people, coming out of slavery. So we are. For me, I'm 2 times. The elder may not be just maturing. Sorry, I'm talking about myself. Or maybe he might be, tenderoni.
Same thing. I'm just maturing too.
Right. So, but the thing really is to get into the habit of, right, knowing our stuff and creating our own laws. Right. We have our laws already, but getting able to use, like, be in there, and knowing them and knowing the perimeter by which we can, the circumscribed bubble, that 3 foot space, a personal space that nobody's supposed to break, right? That we're supposed to know and install as a nation, our 3 foot. Like, y'all stay over there, right? Or if you come in here, you have to have, respect and honor, but we also have to respect and honor ourselves. But just to show you what it's supposed to be like with ourselves, right? Okay, so this is Vienna Conference again on diplomatic relations, Article 1. The purpose of the present convention. For the purpose of the present convention, the following expressions shall have the meanings hereunder assigned to them. The head of the mission, A. The head of the mission is the person charged by the sending state with the duty of acting in that capacity. The members of a mission are the head of the mission and the members of the staff of the mission. C. The members of the staff of the mission are the members of the diplomatic staff, of the administrative and technical staff of the service staff of the mission. D. The members of the diplomatic staff are the members of the staff of the mission having diplomatic rank. A diplomatic agent is the head of the mission or a member of the diplomatic staff of the mission. F. The members of the administrative and technical staff are the members of the staff of the mission employed in the administrative and technical service of the mission. G. The members of the service staff are the members of the staff of the mission in the domestic service of the mission. A private servant is a person who is in the domestic service of a member of the mission and who is not an employee of the sending state. The premise of the mission are the buildings or parts of buildings and the land are ancillary thereto, irrespective of ownership used for the purpose of the mission, including the residence of the head of the mission. Article 2. The establishment of the diplomatic relations between states and of permanent diplomatic missions take place by mutual consent. Are you guys hearing the diplomat, mission, heads of state, heads of missions? All agents, heads of mission agent, right? Those are all us. Okay? Now, Article 3. The functions of a diplomatic mission consist, inter alia, everybody included, in representing the sending state in the receiving state. B. Protecting in the receiving state the interest of the sending state and of its nationals within the limits permitted by international law. Okay. I'll read that again. Protecting in the receiving state, that would be Canada. We're Moors. We're dealing with them. The grand body is the sending state. We're the missions, we're the ambassadors, we're the representatives of that sending state to here. But we're home, we're not sending it, they're the foreigner. I was trying to explain that, I think, to Cien, that we're not foreign nationals. We're nationals. They are foreigners, period. We would be a foreign national if we left our home and went foreign. That would be foreign nationals. We're not. Because you are foreign in my home, you're going to call me a foreigner because I'm foreign to you? No, you're a foreigner here. Keep the concentration. Correct. Don't displace me up. You're the foreigner.
Clearly.
So, huh?
Clearly.
Clearly. And you're operating in an illegal capacity because if you're saying you're Canadian, there ain't no such thing as Canada. This is a motu proprio right from the Vatican saying that they dissolved all Roman Curia. There ain't no Canada. So if you're saying you're a Canadian citizen, you're here, you're saying you're an illegal immigrant operating illegally here. That's a fact. So coming back down to, okay, just really quickly, I'm not going to drown you again. I'm just going to go to the most important thing that I think.
What's our, what's our exit time for it?
6.
You gotta cut it, bro.
So if it's,
There ain't nobody
600 dollars, it's fine.
No, they got it, no.
We have another hour.
Yeah, but we wanted to give at least some chill time and.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this and then I'm wrapping it up. Okay, so this is Article 22. Article 20. The mission and its head shall have the right to use the flag and emblem of the sending state on the premise of the mission, including the residence of the head of the mission and on his means of transport. The flag on the transport. Okay. Article 21. The receiving state shall either facilitate, so they got to help, right? The receiving state shall either facilitate the acquisition on its territory in accordance with its laws by the sending state of premise necessary, of premise, right? Premise is building, necessary for its mission or asset, or assist the latter in obtaining accommodation in some other way. Subsection 2. It shall also, where necessary, assist missions in obtaining suitable accommodation for their members. Okay? Article 22. The premise of the mission shall be inviolable. The agents of the receiving state may not enter them except with the consent of the head of mission. Okay, I'm done. I'm done. You guys don't have the behavior as an ambassador or a diplomat, they're going to come into your home and do whatever to you. I'm done.
So if you want a copy of the Vienna Convention, you guys can go online, or you can always email Brother Dajed and you can send your copies.
Also remember that Noble Drew Ali went in 1926 to the Pan American Conference, and the things that are spoken about there, you can take a look at the information that about the 1926 Pan American Conference, up to whatever you can find, because that particular conference information is not online. Like the table of contents, what they talked about is there, but you won't be able to get the information. That's how serious it is. So that came before the Vienna Convention, from what I know. And of course, that's between the jure nations. So that's why we're reminded about that convention.
I got one more little quick thing to say.
I
usually, every time I'm a technical guy. I like technology and all of that stuff. As you guys know, last time I was talking about 5G and how it's a high concern, because after you get into 5 gigahertz of electricity, you start to damage cells and you start to damage and manipulate DNA, right? So our smartphones and all of that stuff ain't so smart. But this right here is a phone, and it emits 0.0007. Not 2G, not 5G, 0.0007 G. I bought it for $15 or 15 Canadian notes off the internet. Takes a chip, any chip, my chatter goes into it. It has also a
phone?
It's a phone.
That's a phone?
It's a phone.
How do I watch movies?
Right?
Not that kind of
Islam.
Islam more peace and love. Don't forget, we got caterers in the back. We got about 45 minutes, so we gotta chill out, and we'll just pack the chairs up, all the men, if we can get you to this back.
We'll have an hour, so we're just gonna, mingle, whatever. We'll just keep singing around you, whatever, like you said, I'll just be there.